Welcome, everybody, to the very special episode of the Pantsless Podcast. We're late, of course, we're 4 minutes late. That's my fault, and yeah, my fault only. We're here. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Microphones are on. Smile and wave, boys. With me here today is Maxeli Sulkin and Gradigi. What the fuck we're doing here? It's not even a regular podcast day. But here's the deal. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII. We're going to talk about the remake. We're going to talk about the original. We're going to speculate about the future. We're probably going to spoil Crisis Core. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII. And when I say that, I mean the entirety of Final Fantasy VII lore and the surrounding games or whatever. Everything. So, before we continue, I can now use this. Trevor made this spoiler alert tag about a year ago, and I've never used it because we never do spoilers on this episode, not on this podcast. Today is the day we're gonna use this spoiler alert thing. And just to be super fucking clear, Final Fantasy VII Remake deviates from the original heavily by the end of the game, and we're going to spoil the end of the game completely. So this is the chance for anybody who hasn't played the remake and who wants to play the remake to GTFO and watch this on YouTube when it comes out.
It should also be noted that the end of the remake basically spoils the actual very end of the regular game. So if you think that you're going to avoid some spoilers because we're not leaving Midgar, you're wrong. So be aware of that.
It only spoils it if you played it though. Like the original.
Right, but we're going to talk about it is what I mean. We're gonna so you're not going to avoid the end of the original just because we're doing the Midgar.
Yes.
Thanks, North.
I think the biggest thing I was disappointed in is you can't beat the game in 2 hours. Because normally in a speed run you can leave Midgar sub 2, and it bums me out.
What Sully is referencing is the speedrun that Sully... What's your record, Sully, on beating Midgar?
I have no idea anymore.
Damn, dog.
I'm not real sure.
Losers.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's fine, though.
I've been busy.
But yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Remake. Raise of hands. Who fucking enjoyed the game? And who's hyped as fuck for the next installment?
Yeah, for sure. I cannot wait for the next one. I was not expecting to look forward to the next part. I was like, I'll play it whenever it comes out, but now I'm like, it needs to be here quick.
I keep seeing these nonsense articles that are like, this is what we know about, like, clickbaity ones. This is what we know about the remake part 2. And I'm like, no, you don't, because nobody does.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
We don't know what's going on.
If you think you... So this is one of the rare cases that I think the more information you have, the less you realize you know. Like, not playing the remake, I think anybody could say, yeah, I know what's going to be in the next part. I've played Final Fantasy VII. We've played remakes before. It's not what could happen. But after you've played the remake, there's no way you know what's going to happen. No way. You can speculate, and you can probably get like a lot of little details right, but the overall picture, there's no way.
And we're definitely going to speculate about part 2 and subsequent however many parts there are. But before we get to the ending, which is probably the juiciest part of this fucking podcast, let's talk about the game just as a game. And so the game starts as it starts in the original. You start with the bombing mission, which is one of... I mean, I'm biased towards FF7, but I would say that the bombing mission is one of the more iconic gaming moments ever. Because, I mean, even people who haven't played Final Fantasy VII knows what the bombing mission is of Final Fantasy VII. And honestly, when I saw the promotional material for the remake, I noted that the combat is not going to be turn-based anymore like everyone else, and I thought, okay, it's like Final Fantasy XV's combat. Now, Joe hasn't played 15 yet, but I have, and Sully has. I was a little bit afraid that it's going to mimic 15's combat system, like pretty on point, like copying it. And I am so fucking happy. I'm so fucking happy that they did not do that, because 15's combat is absolute fucking garbage. And I will stand by that. It is still the video game that I love, that I hate that I love it, but and hate and love it. But combat in 7 Remake is way fucking better than I ever thought it would be.
The ability to swap in between characters it's not absolutely necessary in like your first regular playthrough, regardless of what difficulty you go on. Once you hit, like, if you go into hard mode, you have to do that. It's basically like bam, 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 hit somebody, throw like an ability at them, swap to somebody else, hit them again, build up ATB, throw a spell at them, and it's just like revolving constantly. Like, you are never the same person. It flows really well. The combat's amazing.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the combat a lot, and it's been, I mean, pretty much for, I mean, since like Secret of Mana, RPGs have been trying to have like a good balance of like an action adventure type gameplay with those RPG elements that everyone likes, without it just being a level and equipment system. And I think Final Fantasy VII knocks it out of the park. Like, you're still making those same choices. You're still, using your items and your magic, so it doesn't feel like you're not playing a Final Fantasy game, because it does slow down and let you make those tactical choices that you expect to be able to make in an RPG, while at the same time, the moment you're done basically coming up with your tactics, you're back into a high speed action adventure fight. And I think that the balance that they've struck there is absolutely incredible.
There's this guy called Yahtzee who makes a show called Zero Punctuation. He reviews video games, one game per week. So he reviewed FF7 Remake, and one of his complaints about the game and the combat system was that the ATB bar does not fill for the other people you're not controlling. So he was trying to play the game as Cloud from start to finish. He knew that he can switch characters. And to explain a little bit for those who haven't played, like the original game had the ATB bar, which essentially when it failed, then you did an action. The ATB bar is back in Remake, but it's a little bit different. You can attack continuously, but as the ATB bar fills, it has like 2 charges. So with 1 charge, you can do an ability, or you can cast magic or use items. And with 2 bars filled, you can do some other stuff that just require 2 bars. So the character you're controlling, that character's ATB bar fills way quicker than anybody else's. I believe it's made to balance the game. So the point that the game is trying to probably do is you attack with one guy, and like Sully said, in hard mode you have to do this essentially, or you just die. You attack with one guy, and then you switch and attack with another guy to fill their ATB, and then you go to the third guy, and then you attack again to fill the ATB bar. Now Yahtzee complained that he's only using Cloud because he's the main protagonist. And he gets pissed off because the ATB bar does not fill for your other characters, making them redundant and useless. I don't understand how he could miss such a simple thing, that switching characters is what you're supposed to do. Because
especially considering the utility of everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, they're all important.
And like he even noted that in the original, the turn-based one, you had a turn with each character. So it made a more wholesome game for him. He likes turn-based combat. And I'm like, you literally can do this the same thing in the remake. Just switch fucking characters. Yeah. Attack continuously with someone, but switch fucking characters or something.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially how it is emulating like that turn-based combat, because you can't just play as Cloud the whole time. You have to give someone else a turn, essentially, playing as them so that you can utilize what they have. And that's just, I mean, that would be like playing the original and then just guarding with everyone that's not Cloud. And that you're not going to be able to, that's not going to fly. Or just auto attacking with everyone that's not Cloud. That would be even better.
I enjoyed the combat really immensely, though. I think the combat was when you really get into the combat on a difficult fight, it feels so fucking good to continuously do something else than just attacking. Like you you attack with Cloud and you ready up his spell, then you switch to another character, you attack a little bit, and then you cast the heal, and you go to the third guy and you attack a little bit, and you do something else, and then you just it's like an ever increasing like rolling ball kind of deal. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't get. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right. The one thing I didn't really get a chance to use a whole lot was limit breaks. For some reason, I feel like they don't pop up as often as I kind of expected to be able to make them. I didn't know if because there was like the opportunity in the original to use hyper to kind of get more limits. It made your limit bar increase faster. So I intended to like do some stuff like that so I can deal more damage. I didn't find a way to do that. I didn't get a chance to really use too many limits. That and I didn't unlock. There are second tier limit breaks. I didn't get them. Not yet.
I do agree that limit doesn't show up as much as I would like them to.
No.
Yeah. I think that it does reset your limit bar after every fight, which I think is the biggest reason for that. And some of the fights just don't last long enough. I mean, the only time I ever saw my limits were in bosses.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time I saw them.
I also kind of think that they're meant for bosses. Or if you happen to come across a normal fight where you just get stomped on. I do like legitimately think that you're not meant to get them as often. Same with like summons. You can't summons whenever you want, like you could in the original.
And go in to fight like one Doom Rat and bring out Shiva just for the lols.
Yeah.
KOLOL.
Yeah, KOLOL. And yeah, I mean,
summons are pretty cool though.
Summons are cool. I think like the 15 was the first game in the series. I think that at least the ones that I haven't played the MMOs, and I don't remember 13 at all. But in 15, the summon system I think was changed for the first time very radically, where you can go through 15 and not summon anybody, pretty much. And it's a bummer. You can't control the summons in 15 at all. And when you get to like summon the summons, they're fucking epic. It looks really pretty. It's only that can't fucking summon them. And 7 kind of addresses that. I mean, I think it says when you get the first summon that you can like call forth them in a difficult battle. Obviously, it kind of sucks when the boss has like 5% health left, and then it's like, oh, you want to summon? No, too late, motherfucker.
I think what were the summons? There was what Shiva, Ifrit, Leviathan, Bahamut, and then the Chocobo Trio, which you know damn well I rocked the entire game.
Yeah, for sure.
And wasn't Carbuncle and Cactuar and Carbuncle were pre-order bonuses.
Oh my god, dude! I pre-ordered and I never used my code.
I don't think I got my Carbuncle. I got my Cactuar, but I don't think I ever got my Carbuncle. May have to look into that.
Can you get both with one pre-order?
I got a Chocobo chick. I don't know.
But I feel like you got the summons in 7 in this one pretty, not liberally, but you got them often enough. I mean, anytime you actually did get in a tough situation, it seemed like you were getting them.
Yeah, and what I really like is that when you summon the summons in the remake, they stay on the battlefield and you can control them. That is something that 15 did not do. With like, I understand why they did it in 15. It's like story things. But yeah, when they like stay on the battlefield, I enjoy that they did that and that you can actually like control them. A very nice addition, and I can't wait to see Hades and Knights of the Round, and I mean if they're gonna be in Balmy Square.
I would assume that we'll get the rest of them, but
Hades is just such a random.
More. There was like Titan, Kujata, Odin.
Yeah. Odin, yeah.
I can't even think of all the summons in 7.
Rama.
3 different Bahamut's.
Yeah, you're right.
Neo, Zero, and just Bahamut.
Yeah. I never did get Bahamut. I need to go back and get him. That's a tough
Since
fight.
we were talking about combat, can we talk about our least favorite fights?
Sure.
I'm curious what I'm gonna hear. Go ahead, 'cause I wanna go last.
Who goes? Okay, Sully goes last. Do you want to go first, Joe?
Sure. I hated Bahamut. I think that fight is silly. I think that like and maybe it'll be, and I know it's supposed to be like the hardest fight in the game, but it's really hard. You have to. I mean, you almost have to be max level. I feel like to even have a chance at him. If you're anything less than that, he just destroys you. And like the amount of character switching you have to do on him, like because the only way to stop him from counting down to just nuke everything is by putting him under pressure as he's counting down. So you have to like interrupt the countdown. So the whole fight, I'm saving up my ATB for all 3 of my characters while simultaneously not trying to die, because the only way I was able to actually get him to stagger, or not even stagger, but to the point where I could pressure him, was by hitting double braver, double dive kick, and then Omni Strike and Rise and Fall, and fire in the hole with 2 ATB. That's the only way that I could ever get him to go to pressure at the levels I was at, which was like 43, I think. And he just absolutely annihilated me every single time. I still haven't beaten him.
Honestly, I have not even fought him.
It's a brutal fight, dude. If you think hard is hard, because he's like he has an attack where he throws these balls at you, and they do like 1700, and he throws 2 of them, and it's like, what do I do? And then he counts down from 5, and at 1 he mega flares, and it does 9,999 damage.
Oh, so you can't live through it?
No, you can't. Like, unless I was resurrecting someone once. I was resurrecting Barrett in one of my attempts, and he had iframes during Mega Flare, and he survived, and then immediately was killed.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Skittles is the VR battle with Bahamut, and I pooped myself a little in against the other Bahamut because it mega flares, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? There's not even a countdown." And then I was like, "Well, I guess this is the fight. We're gonna start over." And then it only did like 1,000 damage. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. My least favorite enemy is an enemy that everyone encounters by default, because it's have to. It's the fucking troopers that are the helicopter troopers.
That's a fair one.
I fucking hate them.
I take back my answer and support them. Yeah, those are awful.
Yeah, and they are awful. I feel mostly because you just don't have the fucking ATB for it. You can't build up ATB. So, and I mean, I spammed Faragas on them, and when I'm out of, and I used ethers liberally. I fucking hate those assholes. Least favorite enemy in the game.
That's why you have to utilize arrow too, right?
They're both their weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used fire because fire is also their weakness.
Yeah.
Heli troopers, yes.
Firaga doesn't have the delay. I tried to use Aeroga on them, and like the delay that it sits there before it pops, they would just get out of it every time.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my least favorite.
Yeah, they're a pain, that's for sure.
I'll be completely honest, I have 2.
Okay.
First time through on normal mode was the Hell House fight.
What?
I despised that fight. It was all right. So obviously I expected to fight it because it was like the weirdest enemy in the first game that I've ever seen in my entire life. It's a house that opens up and it gets arms. All right. So then it has a shield. So what do you do with the shield? You have to throw spells at it, right? I can never build up enough ATB to hit it and break the shield. Like, I was always getting shit on every time. Then it becomes a wrecking ball and swings from the ceiling because it's a house and they do that.
All the time, yeah.
And then to add more, in hard mode, it opens up its doors and throws tonberries at you. Did you? Yeah, you guys fought tonberries, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a couple that were summoned.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. With the damn insta death spell, they're just like popping around everywhere. There's like 4 of them on the battlefield, and I definitely shut my PlayStation 4 off in rage. Like the first time I fought it, it was not a good fight. The hard mode version is awful, and obviously Eligor, because I told you guys that I've been fighting that stupid chariot creature for like a week, and I really hate it.
Not too bad on normal mode though.
Yeah, no, it wasn't terrible, but I think it's the second phase. It adds reflect to you and itself. So like you can't heal. If you try to heal yourself, it bounces off you and hits them. And
in this game, you can't target.
Yeah, and you can't physically hit yourself with a spell to bounce back to them. So there's no way to do anything with magic. And it's just a nightmare. It's just
And you can't use items in hard mode during fights, right?
No, not at all.
Oh my gosh.
You didn't know that? Savage. Yeah, there's absolutely no item usage. And I might be wrong in saying this, and correct me if I am, but I think every boss has a new or like added mechanic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It's kind of rough. I don't remember if the rest did or not, but those are the 2 that I definitely remember having changed mechanics.
I will say an annoying portion of the game that I thought was hilarious that they let you skip it after you beat it. I think every motorcycle part in that game is just a giant waste of time because no amount of accelerating and braking will get you where you want to be. The game will put you where you need to be when you're ready to be there. I hate that. Like if the game doesn't want you to catch up, you're not going to catch up. There's no point in accelerating. I hate that.
Yeah, it's artificial.
The boss at the end with the 6 wheels, that was just painful.
That is Motorball for you, not the boss. It's the Motorball.
Well, Motorball can suck my Motorball.
I thought the Motorball fight was actually really neat.
It was just annoying, the accelerating and stuff.
I appreciated the Motorball fight just because it did something different from like every other boss, essentially.
Yeah.
But I've seen other people criticize the Motorball fight essentially for it not being the final boss of the game. And I'm gonna touch upon it. I'm gonna touch upon it more later when we talk about the actual ending. But the justification for me is just kind of stupid.
It wasn't the Motorball fight specifically. It's just the mechanics of the motorcycle. Like if you could actually catch up and things, and your acceleration and braking really mattered, it wouldn't be so bad. It would be fun. But whenever I'm ready to attack this guy, and the only thing stopping me is that my motorcycle is being slowed down by the game, it's just like just let me hit the guy. I'm right here. Just let me hit that guy.
Let me swing my sword. Let me fucking swing my sword now.
Do you remember the original game?
It was just as bad.
It feels a lot like each other, doesn't it? Like. Yeah. The only thing new is you can fling your sword out now, or whatever he does.
My complaint now is the same as it was 24 years ago, or whatever. I just want to catch up. Why can't I just catch that guy?
Yeah.
I do recognize, though, the same kind of sentiment that because there's like no catching up unless the game doesn't want that, it slows down those battles very much. And you feel like you're just sitting and waiting there. Which I understand can be like frustrating. I mean, I certainly also wanted to, catch up, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that I hated the motorcycle portions of the game. I still think that they were okay, but it's just annoying.
And that's fine. Like, honestly, I don't expect anyone to be like 10 out of 10 game. Everything's perfect. There's no criticism whatsoever. Obviously, we all enjoyed the game, but I fully expect everyone to have some form of criticisms for the game.
That's one of very few.
And honestly, I don't have a lot. I struggle kind of with myself to I don't know where my critical neutral thinking ends and where my extreme bias towards the game starts. So I don't know how much like I'm subconsciously just accepting because it's Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
It's but it's just such a fucking good game. The combat is awesome, and the locations are again, they're fucking awesome. I want to like show my appreciation for the team itself. I think they recreate those old places very faithfully in a way, and also like expanding on them. I mean, the bombing mission, it looks and feels great. Everything is bigger, obviously, and it looks and feels great. The slums, they look good unless you're just like below the plate and you're looking down at the slums on the very rough looking textures. So it doesn't look good then, but otherwise the slums look good. Wall Market looks fucking awesome. Don Corneo is one of the most horrible people ever. And
yeah.
The only part that I think that didn't look super nice was the ascend from Wall Market to the Shinra Tower. That entire section where you're climbing down or climbing up the wall looked something like you could slap it on a PS3 and it'll pass.
I honestly didn't pay too much attention there.
I felt the same way in the, and I think we talked about it whenever I was looking at it in the train yard. There was a lot of textures in the train yard that was just like, here's a red line on top of another red line. That's a gauge. It's like, oh, okay.
It certainly looks like they I don't know why. Either they cut corners heavily or they had to do it to save space or whatever. Like, I mean, some of the textures are super fucking, they could pass on a PS1 even. And I don't know why they did it. Hopefully subsequent releases don't look similar though.
I'm only assuming they had to turn down the texture quality just for the character models, because the character models in this game, they're honestly some of the best character models I've ever seen. I mean, they're insanely detailed, and the characters just feel very alive. They don't have any kind of like dead face moments. Some of the side characters, obviously, that just have like mouth flaps and they don't actually have, you know, real dialogue and aren't really characters. Those can look fine, but like the actual ones that matter, all the main characters, and even a lot of the side characters that just have names, like Leslie Kyle, our friend Les. His character model was his was right up there with the main characters. His was still highly detailed and he felt very alive. I was really impressed by the character models in this.
I will say I didn't realize the scale of this game until the moment after you leave the church, where Cloud's normally like Aerith's behind him, like jumping in the original game, swinging her arms, like looking weird, and they're jumping on Scrap, and like you come out and you see just everything in Midgard from up there. And it was just, I don't know, it was a stunning moment. I realized like this game's gonna be huge, absolutely huge. That, and I was just immediately coming off the Airbuster fight, which was out of control. That was an amazing fight.
The version they use of Those Who Fight Further, the boss theme, they use different versions of the boss theme for the bosses in 7 Remake, and I think the best version is the Airbuster one.
Yeah, after you said that, I definitely agree.
And the bosses in general in the game, I feel also deserve praise, just because the length they went to portray the old bosses in a new way. Every boss has multiple phases. Every boss is, in my own opinion, like unique in a way. They're memorable, and I enjoyed fighting them. They felt like a challenge.
Yeah, that's what was definitely nice, is that every boss, there wasn't any, I don't feel like there was any boss that was just a pushover. I think everyone presented some level of legitimate threat. So they all did have I think they all had pretty unique fights overall. I don't think no fight was just attack until it's dead. They all had different phases and different tactics that you had to do. They were fun. I think the boss fights in this were pretty good too.
And the music evolves during the boss fights, which is fucking awesome. And the best place where that happens is the Genova fight. When it kicks to the third gear and the synth really kicks in. My God, I was jizzing all over my fucking room when I heard that the first time. My God, I was
even noticed it at first, and then it kicked in, and I was like, "What? Where did this come from?"
It's so fucking great. I mean, Jesus. Caleb Hart, who's a big streamer on Twitch, he speedruns the remake, and his chat goes livid during that fight because they're only waiting for when the synth really kicks in the third phase.
Yeah, that fight was nuts. That was a really fun. That was a tough fight, but it was a really fun fight.
I was actually really surprised to see Genova in this game.
Yeah, I didn't expect it.
Yeah, it's definitely a fight that is first of all, it's a new addition. It's one of the things that is in the game that deviates from the original heavily. And yeah, you fight Genova, and it looks like Genova, and it's named Genova Dreamweaver, and it's just Genova, which turns out not to be. I mean, I guess it is Genova, but turns into a one of those tattooed guys that Sephiroth is controlling. Do they have names in the original?
I think they were just clones.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember if they called like hooded figure in the original.
Yeah, whenever you see them in like before Mount Nibel, I think that's what they're named, or what you mentioned them as. I forget.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because the first time, like we see in the original, the first time you see Genova is at the Nibelheim flashback, right?
No, you see her in the Shinra headquarters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
inside
see
of there.
Yeah, that's when Cloud freaks out a little bit.
And then you see her in the flashback, and then the first time you fight her is after June on the boat.
Yeah, on the boat to Costa del Sol.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was an interesting fight though. I thought that was going to be the final fight somehow, and then the game just kept going, and I was so happy. Because that was definitely, like, I feel like that could have easily advanced to like an end game boss fight, like where it was and how it was progressing. That could have easily turned into a final boss fight.
Since we're talking about things that happened there, by show of hands, who took the stairs?
Of
course, the elevator.
You
bastard!
I did spoil to Joe what happens on the stairs route.
Literally nothing. You just get slower and slower.
I love the stairs. Yeah, it's really so fucking good. Really the music gets more sluggish, and as you get more sluggish, it's done in. I mean, it's clearly the developers having fun with the entire thing.
How long does it take for you to take the stairs?
Dude, it's forever.
It feels like
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the end of it, you're literally slow walking.
Yeah. Wow. I did fully expect them to do it, but like I needed confirmation. They took out a line that happens on the original stairs where I think Tifa calls Barrett a retard or something. They completely took the line out, which I expected it, but I that's why I took the stairs specifically. That, and I wanted the elixir, which was not there. or I missed it. I'm not real sure.
Got him. They played you.
On the topic of swear words, who was surprised about the amount of profanity in the game?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. That was the one I was thinking of right there.
Yeah. So for those who missed it, and I'm sorry if it sounded super loud for you guys. So everyone swears in the game. Every single character, the main of the characters you control. Aerith swears, I believe, once in the entire game. And she says shit. Which honestly took me a little bit out of the game when I heard it the first time. I'm like, excuse me?
I was also super surprised.
People were
Because
pissed.
Really?
There's some people really disappointed, like, because it is kind of out of character for her a little bit.
I
But I
mean,
thought
she
it was
almost fell to her death.
Yeah.
Like that. She almost fell to her death. I would probably say shit too.
It was a very weird moment though. But every other character they say bitch ass bitch, and pretty much the only word that is not used is fuck.
Yeah, I didn't notice a fuck. Is there a fuck?
Yeah, no, there's not a single fuck in the game. I wrote down a few. Yeah, they use asshole, shit, dick around, bitch, bullshit, pricks, punk ass bitch. Those are the ones that I wrote down.
I do remember punk ass bitch, and I was so happy that punk ass bitch got used.
Yeah,
Is that a
is like
line?
one of
punk ass bitch was said by Reno, I think, on top of the tower.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I was really happy.
It was honestly a cool moment.
I didn't realize you wrote those down. That's funny.
I wrote some of them down. Yeah. At some point, I was like, "This is a lot for a Final Fantasy game." And I'm not trying to like insinuate that it's like somehow wrong or anything. It's just when I have a perceived picture of something and they defy that picture in some way, it's odd for me. Like, I know that there was profanity in the original Final Fantasy, like they're just how they do in comics, where it's just random symbols. So I knew that there's like quote unquote profanity, but to hear all the characters, especially Aerith, saying shit, that was like a little bit odd.
I actually expected Barrett to swear a little more because his mouth was foul in the first game.
Yeah,
he's definitely foul.
He's the only one I really remember swearing to much extent at all in the first game.
Yeah. Sid does it too, I guess.
Oh yeah, Sid definitely swears.
Yeah,
obviously we did not.
Woman beater.
Yeah. We did not see Sid in the remake yet, but I am looking forward to seeing Sid. Maybe in part 2.
It does make it feel more realistic that they swear, because people swear. Like, people talk and they swear. That's how adults talk. And if you're in a situation like that, you're probably going to swear even more. They probably honestly didn't swear enough. I mean, if you really think about it, they're all like military type people. I mean, that's a period that is some of the profanity. A fuck is basically a punctuation in the military. Those guys are gonna be like that, and so.
But from like I don't know. I understand why they don't put the fuck in the game. I mean, it's gonna be rated teen for the subsequent releases too, and that they can't really have the fucks and the motherfuckers in there, unless they want an M rating for the game.
Yeah, I don't think they'd risk that. I don't think they'd ever make a mature one.
Yeah, punk ass bitch is fun. We've come a long way from that time when just saying darn was the way to go to hell.
Yeah.
Golly.
Gosh, golly.
If you ever hear me call someone a PAB, that's what I'm saying, is punk ass bitch. I've said that on my stream a few times, where I'll just be like, you PAB. I'm calling him a punk ass bitch.
I like it.
So
I hate you, North.
Who was really excited to explore Wall Market?
I got more excited when I got there because they really fleshed it out.
I mean, you could get lost in that fucking place.
Yeah.
And I did not get all
a
the
lot.
Yeah, I mean, I pulled up my map a lot. There was also a lot of items that I ended up missing because I forgot to go back for them. And I'm not really sure how to get them, but I believe that there's that one quest where the guy gives you medicine. And I believe that's when you need to go to all the locations where there's people blocking, and you need to give that shit to them so that they move out of the way. But I honestly thought that the wall market section would be short, but I was so happy. I was so happy they made a quest line out of it, like a real bigger one that culminates into the dance scene and Cloud's makeover.
The dance scene, breathtaking.
So here it is,
out of
haters.
Character, but
out of character, yeah, but here it is. I've seen a lot of people criticize this scene, especially the dance scene, because it's so out of character for Cloud. Fuck you. The scene was amazing. And one of the highlights of the game.
Character though, because in the original game he literally cross dresses. So why is it so out of character for him to dance?
Yeah,
I don't think that's.
If you love someone enough that you're willing to cross dress and risk selling yourself into slavery, dancing isn't going that much further. That's where I'm at on that. You know?
My only disappointment about the Honeybee Inn is that you never see Mucky, the big man in the. Have you ever slept in one of the rooms in there?
No.
There is a
very, like in the original game, there's a very large man in bikini bottoms or a Speedo that like jumps on you. I'm pretty sure he gives you a hand job in a hot tub. Things get really weird there, but I'm really disappointed they didn't put him in the game. But you don't get to sleep in any of the rooms in the game either. But you can peek through. There was one room that you can peek through and like look inside. I think Palmer was in it.
Yeah, Palmer.
And, he was
Palmer
like
was there with
chasing
his
some woman around.
Yeah. Kinky pervert.
Yeah. He looks creepy as hell.
Yeah, Palmer.
He reminds me of a clown. Like I don't know.
Someone in my chat said he was the Spawn clown, and he definitely looked like the clown from.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Oh shit.
He's got the. I mean, he even has like the same like face. Like everything about him is just the Spawn clown. Yeah, it was hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's just missing the makeup from the clown from Spawn.
Dude, I hope somebody out there paints his face.
I swear there probably
I
is.
want to see it. Yeah.
Speaking of Palmer,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the other people that worked for Shinra, like Heidegger and all them, they were and Hojo. I thought all those guys were crazy good. I think those were awesome villains. I think that all of those people were fleshed out a little bit more, and they knocked it out of the park with them.
I can't wait to see more of Scarlet. She is my dream waifu. Always has been Team Scarlet.
The dominatrix Scarlet. I mean, I understand, like, it. Whenever I see something like that in the game, and I mean, honestly, like, even Aerith, Jesse, and Tifa are, if you just look at the game, like, not understanding what's going on, I mean, it's some softcore porn almost, like what they're doing with Cloud. I mean, they're all fucking hot for him. And even with Scarlet, like having that dude like on his all fours and pretending to be like a dog / like a footrest. I mean, they're playing into some
hilarious, dude.
I mean, yeah, it's hilarious, but I think it's very deliberately done to play into weird male fantasies. I don't want to say weird, but some male fantasies, and why not ladies' fantasies by that extension too.
Speaking of being tied up, did you guys ever go back to the Don's place and where you woke up? Or no, I'm sorry, the basement. Did you try to go back down into the basement?
No.
There's somebody screaming just like, help, let me out.
Oh no,
and I'm
yeah, I
pretty
did.
sure they're tied to the table.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I went back. I tried to get in there.
Yeah, there's somebody in there yelling.
Wow. That's brutal.
I mean, considering what the Dawn actually does, I mean, when you really break it down, Dawn is a murderer, rapist, sex trafficker. And his lackeys are sex traffickers. And they're like good people. Like Chocobo Sam is just a jolly good rancher. And like he literally traffics women to this murderer rapist. And I don't like it's odd how they put this. They have this kind of relationship between like the three lieutenants and or the trio or whatever they're called. And they're all just like they're so okay with this shit. Don Corneo is one of the most despicable people in Final Fantasy VII. Of all. Like,
yeah, it's fleshed out way more now, and it's way more disgusting.
Yeah. I feel like in the original it was just heavily implied on what he was doing to the women. Like I don't think they ever actually outright said exactly what he was doing, did they?
No.
He just like kept them as friends or whatever, like special friends. I can't remember what they made him way greasier in this. It is much more blatant.
I mean, he borderline jumps your bones in the bedroom in the original, like doing his weird dance. You know what I'm talking about?
It's not even implied in the remake when, especially when Chocobo Sam says that he brings girls to him, and then he like in a comment to Aerith, I think that he'll bring like the next girl in a year or so. So
yeah, they all have like their own candidates basically, like the trio does. Each individually, they have one person.
It's I mean it's fucking despicable, and it's weird how much like. And I agree with chat like that they didn't shy away from showing like how dark Wall Market really is. I mean it's a dark place and it's not supposed to be this this happy fun land. But I mean when you really start to like break it down, they have some super dark themes there.
It's basically like all the like an evil Las Vegas is basically what it is. It's a small evil Las Vegas. Yeah.
I wonder how much they thought about Jeffrey Epstein when they fleshed out Corneo's story.
Damn.
Brutal.
Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. And that's the last thing I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, he's Don Corneo was definitely they sufficiently greaseballed him up. He is proper hateable. Like in the original with the implications, it was just like, oh, he's a creepy fat guy with way too much money. But in this, he's just downright evil.
It's even like when you break down Leslie's character. So Leslie appears in the original, but he's unnamed and he looks different in the original. In the remake, he's given a name and more of a look. And Leslie initially, like from the first moment I met Leslie, he seemed like he's on the side of the player, which he ultimately is. He doesn't really want to let anybody in. But you get to like understand that way later in the game when Leslie tells you that Dawn chose his wife and then presumably fucked her and then killed her. And Leslie's on a quest to like find his wife. And he works for the fucker. What the fuck? I mean,
yeah.
Fuck, that's dark. Leslie's my friend. Stand with Leslie.
It makes you wonder if in the beginning, whenever he's turning Aerith away, did he legitimately not think that she would stand a chance, or did he know that she would get picked?
I think he was trying to save her. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And that's an interesting question, because by the end of it, you know Leslie's on your side. So did he legitimately think she's ugly, or did he just want to like save her? And I mean,
obviously he wants to turn her away, but did he turn her away on purpose, or was she legitimately not good? I think the former. I think that he knew that she would get picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because let's face it, personally, she's fucking adorable. For like a 17-year-old girl. I'm not a pedo.
Not a pedo.
Sad. I don't know about it.
Fuck.
You're making it tough to believe you now.
All right, guys, I'm out.
It's also obviously shown that the relationship the trio has with the Dawn is a little bit obscure in my mind, because when Cloud gets chosen, Leslie brings the weapon, Aerith's and Tifa's and Cloud's weapons, to them, and he says that he did it because Andrea told him to. And Andrea is the one who does the makeover for Cloud. So I'm not really sure what the relationship between the Dawn and the trio is, but I would like to see it explored more in the subsequent releases, and I would really much like to see Leslie in the subsequent releases. I would like to see Leslie find his wife, because Leslie's my friend.
I would like to know what the hell happened during the massage at Madame M's. Did you guys pay for the expensive one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm pretty sure Cloud definitely came in his pants.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that was a life-changing hand massage.
Yeah. I also bought the cheap one on hard mode, and it's completely different, and she hurt that man. She hurt that man. And the dialogue afterwards, I believe, is different, and his whole demeanor and everything is different. He's just he's not defeated and embarrassed. He's just like, God damn, this hurts, Definitely hurt that man.
Yeah. I don't know. The trio are definitely interesting in that they don't seem like inherently bad people, but they are definitely doing something downright evil.
But, yeah, especially like Chocobo Sam with his entire smuggling operation.
If there's any of them that was just on board with what Corneo was doing, I think it would almost have to be Sam.
Yeah. And even Sam is just a likable person. Like I as a player thought Sam is super likable. And it also, when he cheats with the coin toss, it's also it almost tells me that Sam is also trying to turn them away because he doesn't want that horrible life for them. But then he still smuggles just chicks to this dude on a regular basis. I mean, you can't have morals on one day and no morals on another day.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll learn some more about them in the future, but I don't know that we will. At least I don't think we will in the next episode. If we do, it'll be later down the line. But
yeah, I don't. Who knows?
I could see them being brought in at the Gold Saucer as something like, if maybe business is bad because of something we did in Midgar, maybe one of the three has to start a business elsewhere. I could see them being brought up in the Gold Saucer if they wanted to change something.
There is a moment, if we go by the original, when you go to Wutai, which is an optional area in the original, but if you go to Wutai, you have another encounter with Corneo there, and you don't have any encounter with anything with Wall Market on the assault on Midgar way later in the original, but I would like to see, if they even do the assault on Midgar, that could be a great moment to go back to Wall Market and have updates for these characters that we've grown to learn about. And from all the side characters that were introduced, Leslie is by far the one that I'm mostly interested in seeing having some form of resolution. Because, I mean, he has a very deliberate kind of objective in his mind. Plus, he's my friend.
Yeah, can we talk about Wutai? Because that had a much bigger involvement. Well, not really, but it was brought up more.
I knew about the Wutai War, but in the original game, it was kind of hidden in dialogue. but I did not expect it to be like this.
Is the
This, yeah,
Wutai
this,
is the Wutai War explored more in other releases, like Crisis Core?
I don't know.
Because
I
I've
never
not
played
played any
Crisis
of them. I only know the ending of Crisis Core because it's very notable.
The beginning of Cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The single moment in Cloud's life that fucking catapults the beginning of the entire game, which is Final Fantasy VII. But
yeah, so the
yeah, I'm not sure.
Wutai, like the how much more they brought it up, I think is obviously is going to be,
the whole beginning
is
of
gonna be
Crisis
how
Core
they
is
make-
the war with Wutai. Okay, well there we fucking have it. We know nothing, and chat knows. So
That's true.
yeah, that's about it. I mean, yeah, I was aware of the Wutai War though, but they really hammered that in, and it was used as a plot point way more than in the original, as a catalyst for different things, or as an explanation. Because they did use, like Shinra used is as a pretty, in my mind, an effective usage of just an event where they accused the Avalanche members of being like Wutai co-conspirators, which makes way more sense why this huge corporation just goes ballistic on some randies.
Yeah, I think it's brought up as more of a way to have a better method of bringing Yuffie into the story. I think that's the biggest reason that they're implementing Wutai so heavily so early. Because you could go through the whole original with never talking to Yuffie and never having any interaction with Wutai. But I'm assuming in this they still want you to experience all the characters. But I just couldn't imagine this game having like an overworld type situation like 7 had, where you would just randomly run into Yuffie in the woods or something. So I do think that the Wutai was brought in just as a way to get her in for sure.
I guess honestly, her technical like first possible encounter is not far off.
No, it's right before
as
Juno.
far as far as the game goes. So yeah, that's fair.
I do believe myself though that they're not gonna have any optional things in a sense in the remake. You're going to get Yuffie, you're going to get Vincent, and you're going to go to Wutai, or at least see them in some capacity.
Yeah, I think so too. Because all those characters in the side games and other stories were made much more they were made much more important to the core story than in the original game. Like everybody knows. I mean, Vincent got his own game after several years after the original, so I feel like people would get a slap in the face if you just didn't get Vincent, even though he had an entire entry into Final Fantasy himself.
It's also like from a practical standpoint, I think is that Yuffie is just such a known character at this point. So I mean, you have to include her, and it's just easier to do so without making it optional. But I mean, shit, maybe they have the same sort of dialogue system like in the original with Yuffie. Like you meet her and she's like, "Fuck you, dudes," and you're like, "Well, fuck you," and then you never get her.
I'll be so mad because I always forget what the choices are every time. Even in the middle of when I would do a run, if I would just like for the lulz pick up Yuffie when practicing, I'd have to Google it because I never remember what to say. I hate that.
Yeah, as a kid when I was trying to get Yuffie, I had like a vague description being given to me how to get her, so I knew where to get her, and then I knew that there's a dialogue thing. I grinded that motherfucker for hours because I couldn't access like how to do it, so I was testing things by hand, like missing her, then fucking spawning her again, and then trying again, and then fucking up, and fuck that fucking little ninja bitch.
Wow, dude.
Brutal.
She's pretty useless too as a character in the original.
Like she is quite possibly one of the strongest characters in the game.
I never used her. Unfortunately.
Shame on you.
I think she actually is the one who won the game for me. She was my final hit in my original playthrough.
Did you have a conformer on her? Because she just wrecks face with it.
I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was just a regular attack. I don't remember. Yeah, she's. I definitely think there won't be any optional characters like you said, Tom. I think she's 100% going to end up in our party. Hopefully soon. Hopefully sooner rather than later. At what point is the earliest you can get her in the original?
Right before Junon. Like, as soon as you come out of Mithril Cave, that forest right in front of you.
Okay.
It's essentially like after Midgar, you have the Calm flashback, and then you walk to the Chocobo Ranch, get a Chocobo, avoid Midgar Zolom, go through the Mithril Cave, and then you can get Yuffie.
Should be pretty quick if they decide to give her to us at the earliest point they could in the original story. Then it may not be too far into the next part that we get her.
Yeah.
But I doubt that's how it'll happen.
We need control of Red first. I'm bummed. I'm bummed out.
I want to believe that they did not program Red to be playable because you get him so late in the game.
Just wouldn't have been worth it.
Yeah. Or they didn't have time to implement everything they wanted to.
Yeah, I was kind of curious if they had to they pushed it out so quick toward the end that they just kind of gave him his own AI. But he is a fourth character sometimes, so maybe he was meant to not be controlled.
I did think it was interesting that he had gear on. Like he had a collar with materia in it, even though you couldn't control him or change his equipment. I thought that was really neat that they added that in.
And he still uses limit against the arbiters.
Yeah. Stardust Ray. Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that even though they didn't let you control him, he still had all of the kind of fluff of being a controllable character. That was really nice.
Red was awesome. Interaction with gear is amazing. That's a little tiny touch that I did not expect to see.
Like,
pretty cool.
The level of detail they go into putting the materia in the weapons, I fucking love that shit. I thought when I saw the promotional material that the Buster Sword had the materia slots and materia in those slots, that it's the only weapon that they're gonna do it with. And the motherfuckers did it for every weapon.
Yeah.
Bravo, Square. Yeah. Bravo for fucking going the extra mile. Unlike
they
companies,
didn't have the additional materia slots though, but the original ones that the weapon comes with before you perk them up.
Never mind what I said. You fucking hacks.
But it does connect them if you buy the connecting upgrades.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
I'm pretty sure now. Pretty sure it does. If you connect them, it shows it. There was a lot of little details. It was really cool. Yeah, I liked that a lot too. There was a lot of cool stuff that they really, really didn't have to do, but they went above and beyond. Like I if they had just made all the weapons not have any materia slots and not shown that on your gear or whatever, I don't think anybody would have been mad or even have noticed it not been there. But they did it, and it's awesome.
I also it became pretty clear that there's not a whole lot of weapons and armor in the game, but in my own opinion, at the end of it there's quite a few. But the system that they implemented where you can upgrade the weapons mitigates that loss of having different equipment very well in my mind. It makes you more attached to the weapons themselves. I finished the game with the Buster Sword because why wouldn't I? And it's totally doable.
You're out of magic and attack and
And I mean, I fucking love the Buster Sword. So even though I had technically a better weapon in my backpack, I still wanted to have that final set of fights with the Buster Sword because that's the iconic weapon. You can't fucking do that shit in the original. I mean, I guess you could, but it sucks.
Yeah, you could. I guarantee there's a lot of people out there that have went out of their way to beat the first Final Fantasy with the Buster Swords.
There was a dude, I don't know how many years this back, but there's a dude who set himself on a mission to grind Cloud to level 99 in the first possible place where you could get random battles, which I think
he's
is
actually still in the process of doing Final Fantasy 9 max levels Zidane and Dark Forest or Black Forest. I forget what it's called.
Oh my gosh!
like he said
Every
somewhere.
once in a blue moon, I see him streaming.
I think he said something. It took like him 3 years to do it for Cloud. He gets like what 2 experience per battle or some shit.
That's insane.
I forget.
That's literally insane. Why would you do that?
It's fucking, I don't know, for that 5-second internet fame. I mentioned him, so he wins, I guess.
Yeah, he got us.
That's fair, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Weird guy. But yeah, the weapon system, like with the upgrading the weapons, I really want that to come back. I really also want that when the subsequent releases come out, I want them to have the option to like import your save, like you have with Mass Effect, for instance, where you get the gear that you had when you finished the game. Maybe not the levels, maybe the levels, I don't fucking know how you do that. And I'd like to get the materia that I had. I'm okay with the levels going down.
If you carry that materia over, can you imagine how long your list is going to be when you try to find something? That's my biggest concern, and that's why I feel like since there's going to be so many items, I think they're not going to do that. Deep down inside, I don't think so.
And I agree with you. I agree that they're probably not going to do it. But from a continuation kind of standpoint, it's a little weird that you beat the final boss of the remake, and then the second game starts, and you have no equipment left. You're just left it somewhere in the dirt, somewhere, and just, fuck it, we don't need this shit. And you just go.
Hopefully they have a plot reason, and they don't just leave you high and dry. Because I thought that during my first playthrough, whenever I realized I was already getting, or during my first play session, whenever I was getting so many materia and they were already leveling up, and I wasn't very far into the game. So, like, you have Kiraga now. Where do you go from there? Like, there's still 2 to 3 more parts left to this game. I already have the strongest form of all the important spells. Where am I going now? You know, that's I'm curious how they're gonna have to do something, and hopefully they don't just Deus Ex us and just say nope, it's just weak because it is.
I like the idea that chat is saying Yuffie takes your shit in Calm and sells it all. I like that idea.
I'd be on board with that.
It fits her character. That's literally how she's introduced in the original, so that's what she's known for. And Calm is a place where you can sell stuff. Maybe she nicks just everything, sells it all, and that's the reason why you don't have anything anymore, except the basic weapons, I guess.
Boom, problem solved.
Yeah.
There it is.
I'd be down for that. I'd accept that fucking wholeheartedly. Why not? I mean, it fits. Yeah. That fits what Yuffie does. And then when you chase her down and you're about to split her head open, the Arbiters of Fate fucking intervene and be like, "No, you can't kill her yet." And then it's like,
not alive.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get to that. But yeah, then Cloud decides to take this 16-year-old teenage girl on a quest to save the world. Or if I don't know if she's 15 or 16 in the original, but she's going to be conveniently 18 in the second part of the remake. I guarantee you, like it's when you break down a lot of Final Fantasy games, a lot of the protagonists are under 18, and they can't do that anymore. You can't have people jerking off to, Yuffie anymore if she's publicly like 15, 16. Shit gets creepy.
Did they change their age? I didn't notice.
I'm not sure if they changed the ages for I don't know if anybody of the people you play in the original at this point is underaged. I know Yuffie is. She's either 15 or 16. But I don't know if Tifa or Aerith are 17.
No, honestly, yeah, Cloud's 21, Barrett's 35, Tifa's 20, Aerith is 22, Red's old as fuck. Yeah, so we're good.
Hmm. But I
How old is
guarantee you,
anybody I want except for Yuffie.
yeah, I guarantee you that they will change Yuffie's age. They have to do it. Because she don't have a lot of clothes on. Just saying.
Yeah.
It'll be a little weird.
So you guys want to start talking about some of the story changes?
Yeah, we could go from the beginning and culminate till the to the end. And the biggest story change that anyone will see is the first time Cloud meets Aerith. When you see the hooded figures that looks like they begin with the Mentors, yes, from Harry Potter. Definitely look like them, as at least how they are depicted in the Harry Potter movies. And they're not really explained what they do until very late in the game what they are, and they're called the Arbiters of Fate. To put it very simply, what they do, they're there to preserve flow of destiny, make sure that what you do happens the way they want it to happen. I'll explain a little bit more about them once we get to the end of the storyline that's changed.
Yeah, so that's the very first big one, is that you see and you see him pretty early in the game. Like as soon as you meet Aerith is when you see him.
And then you see Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Awesome moment, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the inclusion that Sephiroth is in the remake as much as he is. I've seen a lot of people criticize that too, that it breaks the original story so much that he's inserted into every situation. I can understand it from like a business standpoint, that he is a very notable character, and you can't really have the original, or you can't really have the remake without having Sephiroth in it. Like they could literally not make this game end in Midgar and not have Sephiroth in it. I swear to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even like that much more of a stretch to just think that Cloud starting having, like, there's not a plot reason for him to not have those visions like sooner. So I really don't understand the kind of the outrage behind seeing Sephiroth earlier. Like there's no reason that Cloud just can't have those hallucinations earlier on. I think if you're just mad about that, I think you're just looking for something to be mad about.
Yeah, whatever the decision is, I still think it was a good addition to have him in the game as much as he was. He serves as a plot device, an antagonist for the player to latch onto, and he pretty much drives the finale of the game, like quite literally. So he shows up a lot. There is a lot of extended stuff in the slums, a lot of side missions. A lot of the side missions are pretty, like, not noteworthy. I did most of them, not all of them. But overall, the side missions are there to serve, to make the game longer. That is literally their purpose. They don't drive the plot in any way. But they're there, and they're pretty, not anything spectacular. I didn't hate them though, but they're like kind of whatever.
Yeah, they just give you like they basically just make Midgar feel more alive. That's it. They don't have any plot reason. If you just want to interact with more of just being a person living in Midgar, then that's 100% what those are for. But
it was very important to me to find out that the girl that worked at the orphanage also worked at the Honeybee Inn. That was very important.
Times is tough. Times is tough.
She wanted to be a dancer.
Yes, she did want to be a dancer. That was an embarrassing moment for her when the player finds out.
Did you notice that Aerith doesn't go in that alleyway with you?
Yeah.
It
I don't
only
think
lets
I did
Cloud go
notice.
through, so Aerith never finds that out.
Yeah,
She
that's
can't
right.
be like, she can't ring the shame bell or anything.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's true. That's true. There's also like we mentioned a lot of characters. I want to mention a group of characters that serve as comedic relief, I guess. The what the fuck are they called? Starts with a B.
Baz and the no Beck and the boys.
Beck and the boys, yeah.
Like
That's what I called them.
badasses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beck's badasses. Fucking love those dudes. They're derpy
Yeah.
as hell. And the song that plays when you fight them is the battle version of that song, which plays when you fight them, is the best track in the game for me. I don't remember its name, but I have linked it in.
Recompense. Do recompense.
Do recompense.
Dude, that was my favorite line. Do recompense?
Yeah, Beck and the Beck and the boys were enjoyable. It was good.
I do believe that they just serve as comedic relief, and I was overjoyed when they showed up in the Coliseum. And yeah, I fucking love those guys. I hope we see them more. Probably not, but I hope we do.
I think they might be dead this time.
They might, yeah, they might do.
I think if you go back down there, you can just fight them again, like in the sewers where they pop up, like on your not in the sewers, in the abandoned railway, I think.
Oh,
isn't that where you fight them? Where they pop up? It's not. It's like not a cutscene. They just pop up and you have to fight them. It's the three of them and then one big guy.
Oh yeah. In the clubs.
on the highway.
Yeah, on the highway. Yeah. I think you can still go back there and just fight them because I wandered there one time and fought them.
Yeah.
So
I do love it
still,
after you. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say they're still alive, and I think I was gonna say what you're about to say. You can just bump into them, and they're like, "Oh!"
But I love that after you kill them, they're just laying on the floor. They're like, "Don't move."
Yeah.
If you
bump into
something about like he's really good at feigning death or some nonsense.
If you push them around, they wiggle and they'll go, "Oh!"
I love Beck and the boys.
And then as soon as they go off screen, they're gone. you go back and the bodies are gone. So funny.
Scattled away.
Yeah, I actually do hope that we see a little bit more of them. That'd be really good.
For like other major changes, I think when like major change also came in the form of when you attack the tower. Wedge does not die. First of all, he doesn't fall from the tower and dies. He just doesn't die. And after the tower, you get to.
We need to address another change before we can address that change. Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse don't die in the column fall, on the plate fall. So for them to know that Jesse doesn't die at the tower, we need to. Wedge. He didn't. Those three characters didn't die during the plate fall. So they actually survive after their original death in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, all of them. Well, all of them
Jesse
survive.
Maybe.
I believe every one of them is dead. The only one that is very uncertain is Wedge, but Biggs is definitely alive, shown in the ending cutscene, and right beside Biggs's bed where he wakes up from is Jesse's glove and headband. I believe Jesse's alive too.
I didn't notice that.
I mean, it's not addressed in any way. The camera just kind of pans away from it, and you see it.
I didn't notice it until I rewatched the ending today, so don't feel bad, Sully.
And I did not know it until I saw somebody mention it on the internets, because I thought Biggs was the only one who survived. But
that's exciting for me because her personality was really well fleshed out.
I fell in love with Jessie. She was an incredible character.
Yeah,
Jessie was the one that they gave the most backstory to. Also, like not as much as Biggs and Wedge. I felt like Biggs and Wedge kind of served as side characters to Jessie, especially on that one mission that is entirely centered around Jessie.
Yeah, but you do find out a little bit more about Biggs and Wedge as well. Like while you're talking to the dancer at the orphanage, you find out that Biggs used to go there and volunteer regularly. He actually used to help out at the orphanage. I thought that was just a really nice, like, yeah, these people they're not just radicals trying to make a big change. They are actually like in the community, and that seems really stupid. But it means a lot to me that they included something so small in that game to show that these guys aren't just out there being freedom fighters. They actually want to help people as well. Even though that's just a little bitty thing, that preaches volumes to what kind of person Biggs is as a character.
Mm.
Wedge likes cats.
Wedge likes cats, yeah.
That's about all the expansion we get on him. It's just he likes cats.
And Jesse...
He's also Badger from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that too. And Jesse's was a singer or dancer.
Oh, I thought she was an actress.
Actress might also be correct. At the Gold Saucer.
Yeah.
And the backstory we get is that Jesse's parents work for Shinra, and Jesse's dad had some form of accident that makes he's paralyzed, I believe, or in a vegetative state. And that, I think that is the stem from Jesse's hate towards Shinra.
Didn't that happen like the day they were supposed to come watch her or something?
Yeah, you find a letter and like a ticket to her show. And I believe it was like very close at least, or the day, and the accident was. And then Jessie quit being a actress / dancer / singer at the Gold Saucer.
Performer, we'll say.
Yeah, performer. Yeah. That works.
And another big change revolving around Jessie is that her bomb isn't what blew up the reactor. Shinra blew it up themselves.
Mm.
Both times.
I think.
Right?
What?
Both times, right? They made it worse.
Yeah. And I didn't even really pick up on that they were doing it on purpose whenever they blew it up until I went back and watched some videos about it. But yeah, she sets off the bomb, and then there's just like a chunk. And I remember seeing the lasers, the turrets shoot, but I thought maybe there was a malfunction, and they just I don't know why I thought that, but in my head I thought that it was just a malfunction, that they were trying to protect the reactor and accidentally shot it. But then I watched a video and they're like, no, they did it on purpose. Joe, you're dumb. Oh my god, that makes sense.
They said that in the video?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But
that's like a whole other, that just adds on to the corruption that Shinra is, and that's what is so nice about having a whole game based on such a small part, is like Shinra is much more evil than just like a money hungry corporation. They are actively destructive at every chance they can be.
I believe the change is made because, again, that's a very deliberate change that they've made. I believe that they wanted to downplay the eco-terrorist part and just upplay the evil mega corporation that is Shinra. I mean, there's no doubt in the original that Shinra is evil, but in the original you're an eco-terrorist. And you're an eco-terrorist in the remake too, but kind of a shitty one because you can't blow up a reactor. So Shinra just gives a helping hand to push their own narrative that these are the people that they need to like get rid of.
It almost makes you wonder, like, how long had Shinra been planning on doing that? Like, did Shinra know that they were going to try to blow that up, and they planned were they anticipating that, and then were already planning on the plate drop? And they were like, well, you can't even terrorize this properly, so I guess we'll just do it for you. It's interesting to wonder, like, how far ahead Shinra thought about those things.
Well, I know Jesse had a guy, I think it was Jesse, had a guy on the inside, which I assume was the mayor.
I mean, mayor was the inside guy for everyone.
Yeah. But I don't know if I had like a thing in the back of my mind that maybe he ratted that whole situation out, because I feel like he knew about all that shit.
I believe Shinra.
That's the only way he could have known.
I believe Shinra spies on him. I believe that they let him be the inside man so that they can get the information.
I mean, yeah, that's
that makes sense.
That would definitely be something that I think Shinra would be crafty enough to do is feed excuse me, feed Domino certain information, like saying, hey, this reactor is really vulnerable. It'd be bad if someone blew it up. Don't you think so, Domino?
Yeah. Don't you agree?
There better not be a team of 4 dudes sneak in here in the middle of the night on a train and blow us up.
Where we have, by the way, no guards.
Yeah, it is unguarded.
Yeah, I believe
it could be.
I want to believe that they're gonna explore more of like Shinra's evilness in the subsequent releases, because they really made the point that Shinra is not only an evil corporation, they're like really, really evil with how they sabotage themselves for their own benefit. They kidnap people, and I don't know. I wonder how much they thought about the Chinese government when they were crafting the narrative for Shinra.
Wow.
Ban me now, motherfuckers!
I will say it's interesting that, like, while you're climbing through the vents and stuff, you get to hear regular Shinra employees doing their job, and they're just regular ass dudes just doing their job. Like it was weird to, like, you just think of Shinra as being this totally evil, like, Satan corporation, and then you're climbing from the bathroom over this meeting, and they're like, yeah, how are we going to clean this up? There's all these people suffering, and they're like, I don't know, we just got to get it done. It's like, oh yeah, there's actually people here doing a normal job.
Yeah, it's they humanize the regular employees of the Shinra employees.
I mean, hell, look at Chadley.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah, Chadley is Chadley is just, I mean, Chadley says that he wants to bring Shinra down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, like, even with the plate drop, the Shinra employees are agonizing about it, and they're talking about it, and they were like discussing, I have family over there, are they okay? I mean, they make them more human. So I do get that they're trying to. It's not. I mean, they make it realistic. It's not that, like, Shinra is this huge corporation. Not every single one of those bastards that work for this company are evil bastards. It's just the head. It's 5 people who are evil. I think it's 5, or maybe 6. I mean, Reeve is not one of the evil ones, but he just goes along until he doesn't.
Yeah.
Even the Turks get some extra scenes, and I like to see when even Reno and Rude are discussing that, is this morally okay that we do these things? And I mean, Tseng is basically just saying, shut the fuck up and do what you're told. But it's nice to see that they're given more humanity in them. They're not just some evil henchmen. And I mean, I think the Turks were not evil henchmen in the original either. I mean, they showed different sides of their kind of...
How you meet them in Wutai and you're all just chilling. They want you to have a beer with them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're off the
clock. You go to Wutai in the bar, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's several times that they're very cordial towards you. I mean, even like whenever you save Aerith the first time in the church, I feel like whenever you're done with that fight, they're like, let him go. At the end of it, they're like, it's not really worth it right now. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're malicious people at all, and getting to see a little bit more of that is refreshing for sure.
And even Rude is, I think Aerith, like, says at some point that Rude has never been rude against her. And just
she's like, don't hurt him, he's still a good person, like right before you fight.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of like just tells me that Rude and Aerith have some form of like bigger history behind them. And I think Rude just wants to fuck her. I mean, that's me condensing like a 5-minute like why Rude likes Aerith into like just a single sentence. That's basically
Rude and Reno, don't they ask the question, who would you pick or something like that in the helicopter? I know in the original game they do it, but I'm pretty sure in the helicopter they do it.
I don't remember.
Shit. Yeah, I have a vague memory of it that they do, and I think doesn't Rude answer that? Like, I think he doesn't answer.
I can't remember,
but
I definitely remember the question.
Yeah, I think Rude gets like flustered for it because I think Reno's teasing him. I like Rude and Reno. I think they're nice people, cool characters. The fight against Reno in the church is also. It was surprisingly difficult until you just kind of get the gimmick of it. Like that.
It was
fight.
an eye opener for the future.
Yeah.
The rest of the game.
Yeah. That's also one moment. Cloud is about to split Reno's head open, and the Arbiters of Fate intervene. And then they literally drag Cloud and Aerith away from the front of the church to the back of the church. I think that is very meta how they do that, because that's when the game developers are saying that can't do these things. We have to preserve the original timeline because that's what the fans want to.
Yeah, I mean the Arbiters of Fate are definitely just one big meta analogy, for sure, and that's definitely what they were going for, I think.
But Shinra Tower is also a place where I'd like to say that they expand on the story rather than deviate, because all the things that happen in the Shinra Tower happen in the original too. I mean, you don't get captured, but you do have like this moment in Aerith's old room, serves as a substitute to getting captured. But Hojo's lab is something that is entirely new, and my fucking god, was Hojo's lab long. And Hojo's lab is a
portion of that.
Yeah. And Hojo's lab is where that my second least favorite enemy of the game is. It's the fucking whack-a-mole bastards.
Oh, dude, they're the worst. I have no idea. The ones that pop up from those like octagons on the floor.
Yeah. There's a grid of them, and there's like 3 of them, and you fight them with Cloud and Barret.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to like properly take care of those things.
A lot of thunder.
Yeah, basically.
I can't use ethers.
Well, I guess you're fucked. Put thunder on your weapon, I guess.
You have to. Like hard mode, you definitely have to have like elemental and something on either your weapon or your armor. Or your eft.
Hojo's lab was also this is one of my criticisms of the game. I think Hojo's lab was too long. It dragged on a little bit too long for me. There was a lot of just like what I would consider padding, especially with the back and forth with the groups and opening the doors and going through the trials, and you could have sliced that like in half, and it would have served the same purpose.
There's a lot of like puzzles that are just padding. There's definitely a lot of that. And I brought it up every time it happened, and it's obviously it's not bad, but it's just pointless. And there's a ton of them, of like balance beam parts, like where you have to walk on like a girder or something, and it doesn't matter. All it does is make you walk slower. You can't fall off. There's no downside. Every time I did it, I held the controller up so the stream could watch and just ran the analog stick in a circle. Because you can just run that stick in a circle while you're going across that beam and nothing different happens. Every so often, my guy would stop walking because I was running my stick in a circle. That's it. There was a lot of that in the game that just seems really, really pointless.
I feel like a lot of those go under a thing or squeeze between stuff or go over a beam or hang somewhere. I mean, they're done to break up the parts where you're just walking.
Yeah.
And are they pointless, useless, or are they just breaking up the flow of the game? I don't know. I don't enjoy those types of things myself in video games because I think they break the flow. But that's the reason why they're there. It's to artificially create something different, which ultimately just serves as a hindrance.
The only time I remember thinking that they had any kind of purpose was whenever you're going through all the scrap with Aerith, and they just need to expand it so that they can get through all the exposition dialogue that they have. That's the only time I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, they want to slow it down because they want me to just talk to her for like 30 minutes. But
are you talking after you leave the church for the first time? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that part was, I don't know, it was pretty awesome.
No, I liked it. I liked that part. That was like what I'm saying is I think that was the only part where that kind of stuff was well used, because it wants to kind of slow down and it wants you to focus on the dialogue so that you can kind of understand the dynamic between Aerith and Cloud, which is super adorable in this game. Aerith is absolutely adorable. I would marry Aerith. And yeah, it's that was the only time that it was well used, just so you could get to know her better.
It's also where she says shit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whenever I was messing with whenever I was making my Elgato into a soundboard, that was the very first sound I got, was her saying shit.
Or you can have a pop up of her beating somebody with a chair too.
I should.
Also, another thing which I neglected to talk about before the Shinra Tower. This is like after the plate drop, you go back to sector 7 or 5, and then you try to find Wedge, and then you find Wedge in an underground lab, and that's when the game essentially tells you that Shinra has these massive underground labs where they do evil experiments. And it's a completely new addition to the game. I understand its inclusion, but ultimately they don't really serve any plot narrative, at least yet. And the weird kind of alien-looking monsters that you fight are a little weird.
I think it was just to expand more on the fact that they are experimenting on humans and like doing these unethical things and creating monsters out of them. I think that was just part of to expand on that narrative. Maybe there will be more. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
In the original, whenever Sephiroth like first loses his shit, before that, the those pods in the reactors, it pops open and there's a monster in there. I think that was just to like show you that a little earlier.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right with that, because those pods were like super prevalent in the Shinra building too.
Yeah.
Thousands of them, if not like more.
Yeah. Yeah, the sheer scale of that laboratory and like the Genova cell was absolutely massive. To think that it was in that big giant skyscraper, it kind of blew my mind that whole time. Like this feels like the underground.
It makes me wonder if Hojo's experimentation will be a bigger part moving forward.
I think they're definitely gonna expand on it, make it more like clear. I mean, they've already laid the groundwork that he experiments with people, or at least his like lackeys do it. I mean, he's probably aware. It's fucking crazy.
You're right. You're right.
He's the true villain.
Yeah, I can't wait to fucking murder him.
That would be pretty sweet.
After he turns into 4 different Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait.
Honestly, like the from the original, the Hojo fight is one of those fights that I have a really hard time remembering. It's like super late in the game, and you're like super in and out of there. And he's really a pushover. At least I remember him being like super easy in every playthrough. But he's one of the least memorable bosses in my head.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about fighting Hojo in the first game.
Wow. Before you fight him, you fight like a huge robot.
Yeah. The Proud Claw.
Yeah.
Which is a nightmare-ish, kind of. It was a tough boss, like first time through.
Yeah, Hojo turns into like different types of monsters, and then you just murder him.
Yeah, he becomes like an army boy. He's got like this weird arm. And then before that, he was sick, like hunched over, I think. In third phase, he's like this weird floaty fish man.
I do remember I remember the floaty fish man. Yeah.
But I don't remember. I think it's in Dirge of Cerberus. They show that Hojo did not die. He uploaded his conscious to the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to play Dirge of Cerberus. I played it. I rented it forever ago. That'll tell you how long it's been since I played it. I rented it.
I think it's in Dirge. I'm not sure.
I remember thinking that game was actually pretty fun.
Because Vincent is on like a super long quest to like kill Hojo because they have like history, and I believe it happens like at the same time as Cloud and gang are doing some other things, and it shows like Hojo after the fight, and he turns around and Hojo just clicks on a button and then he just uploads his conscious into the internet. And then Vincent's like, no.
No, quit it.
So for all intents and purposes, I say Hojo is still alive. I don't know. He's not seen in Advent Children at all, so I don't. Who the fuck knows?
Fuck him.
Fuck
I
him.
don't like him.
Yeah, I can't wait to kill him. They made Hojo like way more menacing in the remake, I think, than what he was in the original. I mean, they really portray him as this evil mad scientist.
Yeah.
I wonder how much they thought about Mengele when they created Hojo for the remake. Joseph Mengele being the evil Nazi scientist that experimented on people in Nazi camps.
Probably the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, the signs are there. Hojo experiments on people. Mengele did. Hojo's evil and doesn't. I mean, he's a scientist in all the wrong ways. Mengele was, and he has delusions of grandeur, which also Mengele had.
I do like the moment where he is dragged away by the whispers. Thought that was really cool.
So that moment, he's just about to tell Cloud who he is, but the whispers drag him away because Cloud cannot know at that moment who he is. It will screw up the continuity of the game.
I thought that was a really cool, like, any moment that mechanic was important, I thought it was there.
I think the whispers. I will probably go on a huge rant about the whispers in just a moment, but I think they are a literal tool used by Nomura to point the middle finger to all the purists of Final Fantasy VII. I honestly, wholeheartedly believe this.
We'll find out next episode.
Yeah.
Most likely. But yeah, after the Shinra, or not even after the Shinra, they change up a little bit the things in what happens in the Shinra Tower. Barrett gets killed, and then subsequently unkilled because of the whispers. Barrett can't die at that moment, so. I mean, I think nobody of us, when we played the game, thought that he would actually die. So.
No, because it was weird because he goes down and then there's a pretty, not a really long time, but there's a pretty significant amount of time before you see him again in the scene. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's actual, like, even gameplay in between, isn't there?
Yeah, he goes down and then you fight Genova.
Yeah, like.
And then he gets back up. After the Genova fight.
I didn't even have time to think about it. Like, I didn't even think if he was dead. Because there was so much shit going on in the Genova fight.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I feel like the way Barrett dies is one of those useless things the game did. It created this very, like, kind of fake emotional moment where nobody probably believed that he's gonna die. Not like even if you were completely blind to the Final Fantasy VII franchise, I don't think even those people believe that he'll die.
I don't think it was a useless thing that was done, and that'll play more into what I think is happening with the whispers and like the game as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
whenever we get to that later, and like whenever we start discussing what we think might be going on with everything.
Okay.
I don't think it was a useless thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. After the Genova fight is essentially welcome bald man. Sully has gone.
I know,
and,
dude. It makes me look so bald. There's hair up here. I swear.
We swear Sully has hair. He has not gone bald. There we go.
There we go.
There we
go. You got a Twitch hat? What a guy.
Oh my god.
I'm back.
Jesus God. Holy shit. But after the Genova fight, which in my humble opinion is the best boss fight in the game, so good on you, Square, for creating something wholly new for the game that didn't exist in the original and making the best boss fight. Good on you guys. I say that because it has the best boss music, of course, which is the Genova theme. And after that, you fight the what the fuck is it called? The thing that Barrett and Red and Aerith fights in the elevator in the original.
Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah, Arsenal Gear, right? No, Arsenal Gear is Metal Gear Solid.
Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of a different franchise, fucked by another company, but whatever. The Arsenal fight in my mind was it was interesting enough, but pretty easy. And that is where Wedge maybe dies. When Wedge, he falls through the window and presumably to the ground floor by the Arbiters of Fate. And I believe it's done because Wedge can't be there at that moment. Needs to be somewhere else. If he lives or dies doesn't matter for the Fates probably, but he can't do the things he wants to do there at that moment.
Dude, his feels moment. What does he say? I just wanted to make a difference.
Just tell me that I made a difference. Yeah, that got me too.
Yeah.
It did. Like, I really wanted to like shed a tear for the dude.
Yeah.
He just, man.
Yeah. I do think he's alive because something similar happens to him already earlier in the game where he falls off the tower on the plate and it shows him whipping out, like as he's falling, he whips out his grapple gun and catches himself. So he's not like completely inept. He is still a very capable person, and I don't think there's any reason to think that he wouldn't be able to do that again. Just whip out that grapple gun and save himself.
I believe he's alive. I believe that if you don't show a character dying, they're not dead.
Yeah.
I like having the idea that there's potential to have those three still involved in the story later on. I think it's cool.
Oh, 100% there are going to be more in the story.
Yeah.
Especially
considering Avalanche is way bigger than we thought.
Way bigger. I think that's awesome too.
Yeah, Avalanche is not this small group of wannabe eco-terrorists. It's actually like a huge organization with different branches and apparently like different cells that have different ideologies that just use the same fucking name. I'm just interested in like knowing, is this the same Avalanche that was depicted in, I believe,
Bugenhagen.
Crisis Core?
Oh.
What are you saying? Wait, what?
I can't think. What the hell's Red 13's like grandfather's name?
Bugenhagen.
I always called him Bugenhagen.
Yeah, Bugenhagen.
Sounded like you were just saying gibberish for a second. I was really
confused. Sorry. Before Crisis, not Crisis Core. Before Crisis is where I believe it's a Turk member who creates Avalanche, which is the first leader of Avalanche.
Oh wow.
I've read the things on the wiki, but fuck me, there's just so much lore to this shit that I can't remember everything. But yeah, the Avalanche that you're fighting for in the remake is some form of offshoot Avalanche from like a bigger Avalanche, and apparently like Barrett decided that the bigger Avalanche are just too extreme for him, that he just created his own version of Avalanche. It's kind of weird that they use the same name because they have different ideologies. And yeah, I want that bigger Avalanche to also be part of the the next games to explore Avalanche a little bit more.
Yeah. It would be nice to maybe go to a different town and have to meet up with other cells of Avalanche. I think that would be really cool. Because after Midgar, Avalanche basically just doesn't matter in the original.
Yeah, it has absolutely no meaning after that.
Yeah.
I think really the only time it's brought up in any kind of significant dialogue or anything is Cosmo Canyon, because that's where it was, I believe, originally founded. I think
That
when
I'm
you're
not
sitting
sure.
around the fire.
That I'm not sure. Because I believe in the phone game, Before Crisis, I think you play as a Turk member, and then your kind of friend / mentor / boss or whatever becomes the founding member of Avalanche. Then you like battle that dude. Yeah, it's nice to see that they expanded it. It also kind of brings into perspective Shinra's kind of dismay of Avalanche. If it is a big organization, they have the capabilities of doing actual damage to Shinra. So there's motivation for them to actually do something about it. And and with the war with Wutai and stuff, it makes more sense in that way.
Yeah.
How much did you enjoy the Rufus fight?
It wasn't so bad. It could have been better.
I liked that.
The counter mechanic was a pain, but it was just part of the fight. But it was pretty decent.
I liked the fight a lot.
I died there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell to do. I kept trying to chase him, and I got pissed. Yep.
I like that fight. And Rufus establishes himself as the douchebag he is.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good fight, and Rufus is hopefully, I mean, he's already shaping up to be already more fleshed out, of course, but hopefully I'm excited to see more of him with with the changes that they could be making.
Yeah. And after the entire ordeal of the Shinra Tower, our heroes, they escape, and there's a big chase. You ride a motorcycle, and you fight Motorball, which is a tad bit different from the original. I like the Motorball fight. We already brushed it a little bit. Joe hates it with a burning passion, and Sully kind of is in between. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it exists, and it was a neat fight, but you were on bikes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's how I feel about it. It wasn't bad. It's just, meh.
He did look badass, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Not practical, given like he's a machine, but worked. It fucking worked.
Yeah, slapping a human torso on top of a tank. I don't know why Shinra's obsessed with that. They're just like, all right, we need a human torso with gun for arms. Now put it on some kind of vehicle bottom. Bam, new robot.
Boom. Yeah. Put it into production. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the advanced R&D division for Shinra. Is just like a tiny plastic toy of a robot top, and then they're like RC cars, and they're just like, bam, robot, put it into production.
Yeah, man. And then after the Motorball fight, should we now hop into it?
Sure.
This is your final warning. This is where the game deviates so much that it sends ripple throughout the space-time continuum.
Yeah.
And
I don't. It's so much different. I don't see how the games are going to be the same at all.
Yeah. I was after I completed the game, I was pretty adamant about that they are going to continue with the original timeline.
I think we had like a significant argument over it, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe not argument, but discussion.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an argument. Nobody was mad.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, well. I was not. I have since corrected my ways, and I am firmly, fucking firmly, with the tinfoil hat crew right now. Which is that we are playing a completely different timeline compared to the original. So what happens? You get to the end of the highway and Sephiroth appears and he spouts some mumbo jumbo about this and that, and then the Arbiters of Fate once again intervene and they literally circle the entire Midgar. I guess they are freaking out or something. And then Sephiroth creates a portal and invites the team to go fight Destiny itself. Then you literally do that.
Well, before that, we realized that Aerith is completely 100% totally aware.
She knows.
Essentially her future, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that she knows that she's going to die.
She knows. Yeah.
I don't think she consciously knows that it's death, but I think she knows something bad is in store specifically for her. I think she knows that something horrible is going to happen. But yeah. I don't know that I would go as far as to say that she knows she's going to die, but she knows some shit's going to happen.
Yeah, I fully believe that she knows more than she lets on.
Yeah.
And she says, when you're about to cross the portal, she says that this is Destiny's crossroads. I think what she literally is saying is that this is the point where we're going to enter a new timeline if we cross this portal. Because the Arbiters of Fate don't want you to go through it. They want to preserve the path of destiny, which is the original game. So by crossing to the other side, that is where they lose. And that is when the new timeline starts. Aerith also says directly to Sephiroth, "You are not right." In a way that she's talking that something is like physically wrong with him. And it plays heavily into what Sully said. I heard it from Sully first. That Sephiroth is literally from the future. I fully believe that myself. I fully believe that Sephiroth is from one point in the future where he knows that he's going to lose. And he has managed to somehow come back in time. And he's literally debating the team to cross to the other side into his own like ploy, essentially, for you to kill Destiny so that he can ensure that another timeline starts where he succeeds. I believe that he knows that if you do what the fates want you to do, that he's going to die. I fully believe this shit.
I'm on board with that. I don't know that. So here's what I think. I don't know that I would. I guess technically it would be from the future. I hadn't thought about it like that. I think that every time someone plays the original Final Fantasy VII, that's a time loop for Sephiroth. Like I think that he's somehow stuck in some kind of time loop. And every time someone plays through Final Fantasy VII, he experiences that time loop and has somehow become aware that him and Cloud are destined to cross paths. And so he's doing everything in his power to reroute Destiny. And I think that with him killing Barrett, the reason I don't think that's useless, I think that, of course, obviously the Whispers are fighting him every step of the way. They want to make sure that things happen the same. I think he is trying to make as many ripples and as many differences as possible to weaken Fate so that it's easier for Cloud to defeat them. I think he wants him to defeat Fate, and that's why he kills Barrett, because that's just another major change that he can make in the timeline that the Whispers will have to force some amount of effort to fix. I think I think that that's what Sephiroth is doing is, and at one point he even says, I'm trying to remember the exact wording. He says, I won't be stopped, and I won't let you be stopped either. He says that something along those lines in the edge of creation.
Yeah, he tells.
Yeah, the
Cloud
whole
that.
time he's letting Cloud know that like he needs to continue on.
Yeah.
Like that he has a purpose. He needs to keep going. Instead of killing him, he keeps telling him that.
Yeah. But I think that he's that's what he's leading him to this point where this is a major story point in Final Fantasy as a whole in this game, and that's why this is the time to make a move, because this is where they decide to go out into the world and start doing things. And I think that he's decided that that's probably the best time to make his move against fate. Is there's something that happens there, and I also think that he's also the reason that Zack didn't die, because I noticed, I went and watched the original Zack death, and I noticed that there's a ton more people there, like a ton, like 10 times more Shinra people in the original cinematic than there is in the new one. And at first I kind of wrote it off as just hardware limitations. Those character models are super detailed, and in the old game it wasn't quite that much. But then I got to thinking that maybe what if Sephiroth actually did something back then as well that required Shinra forces to be diverted? And that's why there wasn't enough people there to kill Zack. Because Zack even says, oh, is that all of them? Like he was expecting there to be more. I think Sephiroth did something to stop Shinra from sending as many people out to Zack, because he knows that is a change that will be necessary to be made to weaken Fate enough to do what he's wanting to do.
I can get on board with that, because I feel like all of them are slightly kind of self-aware of things in like at least some form. And I mean, shit, Sephiroth being completely self-aware of what's about to happen, that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that all of that stuff is pretty out there, but I've spent a pretty decent amount of time stewing on it, and that's where I'm at. And I could totally be wrong about like every time somebody plays Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth like experiences it. But that's just like part of the meta, because I definitely think that the Whispers are obviously like Nomura, like, hey, this is what you want. I think that the Whispers are the players trying to tell Nomura this is what we want, and the game, you are basically saying, well, this is what's going to happen. Like you are Nomura saying, no, that's not going to happen. Fate's going to change. You're getting a different experience.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I believe that the Whispers are a literal tool for Nomura to have you literally kill Faith, thus literally killing any chance of playing a shot-for-shot remake of the original.
Yeah, I think immediately after finishing the game, like one of the first things I said was, next episode, I think everything's going to go off the rails.
Yeah.
Maybe not completely and just like be a total shit show, but I think we'll see some real unique things happen.
There's obviously nobody really knows how much off the rails we're gonna go, but I definitely feel like Nomura has essentially told us at this point, by you playing the game, you killed Faith, and now Nomura has the right to do whatever the fuck he wants. I still believe that the game is going to go through the major plot points of the original with the same locations and whatnot. But how you go about it, I think, is going to be changed. How much more content is going to be added is going to be changed. Who do you meet on and where do you meet them is going to be changed. I think that this is Nomura literally telling all the purists that you are not going to play a shot-for-shot remake.
And if by the end of the game you haven't realized that yet.
Did you really play it? Did you actually?
Yeah. Were you there?
Did you accidentally play the original and just didn't realize it for like 30 hours?
And like, I think the whispers will still be in the game. I do believe that. I don't think they can just have the other parts be without the whispers completely. I know you literally killed Faith, but I think there might be some more in some capacity. But I think by you killing Faith, you're not bound to the original game anymore. And to expand a little bit about the whispers themselves, so I wrote down the 3 whispers you fight, which are Rubrum, Croceo, and Viridi. This is what if you sense them, if you use the sense on them. This is what it says from all of them. An entity from the future timeline that has manifested in the present day. It fights to protect the future that gave shape to it. Rubrum fights with a sword. Viridi fights with fights barehanded, and Croceo fights with a gun. Now, anybody can connect the dots that you're literally fighting Cloud, Barret, and Tifa from the future. But here's the thing that I said in Joe's Discord that I'm gonna blow everyone's mind. I believe it's not Cloud, Barret, and Tifa that you're fighting. You are fighting someone from the future. I believe you're fighting Kadaj, Laws, and Yazoo. Now, you guys may or may not know who those are. They are the 3 antagonists from Advent Children. Kadaj and Laws and Yazoo are Sephiroth. They are what's referred to remnants of Sephiroth. So they are created by Sephiroth after the events of the first game, the original. Sephiroth goes to the live stream but doesn't completely die. He tries to resurrect himself, and in that process he fails and creates Kadaj by accident. Realizing his mistake, he creates Laws and Yazoo too, and sets them on a mission to retrieve Genova so that he can achieve his resurrection. This is what happens in Advent Children. And by the end of it, Kadaj merges himself with, I guess, Genova, and Sephiroth is literally reborn. I believe that they are the ones from the future to protect the future that gave shape to them. They are there to ensure that Cloud proceeds with killing the original timeline so that they can get born. Also, worth noting, Kadaj fights with a weapon, with a sword, and is left-handed, and Rubrum fights with a sword and is left-handed. Laws fights with a metal kind of fist thing, and Viridi fights with a abnormally odd-looking hand, and Croceo fights with a gun or 2 guns, and Yazoo wields 2 guns.
See, I was in Sivon Bear's chat last night, and she brought this up, and it was the first time I heard it, but we didn't really touch on it a whole lot. I'm glad I had an opportunity to hear all of it, because I didn't think about any of that.
Maximilian Dude, I think Maximilian Dude came up with this theory himself. I saw a tweet about it, and people in the comments were shouting him out that he was right. There is a tweet that I'm gonna pull it up for myself because it's just a name that I want to see. Croceo has, and this is kind of the thing that makes this fucking definitive for me. Croceo has a move called Velvet Nightmare, which is literally Yazoo's gun's name. And this is not, this ain't some fan theory or anything. The name of the guns and the move are in the Ultimania book, which is not in the West. It's kind of a lore book, just in Japanese for the Japanese people. I believe this stuff. I wholeheartedly believe this stuff. I'm willing to die on any hill with a tinfoil hat with this shit. I literally believe that they're connecting Advent Children.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah, I think that they're going to bring parts of every offshoot of the original Final Fantasy into this. They've already, I mean, if assuming you're right, and it definitely sounds, I mean, that's I'm on board, and I don't even remember anything about Advent Children. I'm already drinking the Kool-Aid on this theory. But I mean, they got that, and they've already brought in Zach. I mean, it wouldn't be a stretch at all to think that they're going to incorporate more and more from those side games.
I believe Zach is alive. I believe that when you kill Faith, and the reason Aerith says that this is Destiny's Crossroads, I believe that when you kill Faith, that is the reason why Zach continues to live. Now, I have no fucking idea how they will incorporate that in the future, for the future games.
Because it's weird to know that he's not with Cloud anymore.
So, like, I can still see a possibility where they kill him in the beginning of the second part. Because in the original game, Zack is killed very differently from how he dies in Crisis Core. In the original, a couple of Shinra troops find him collapsed on the cliff, and they just execute him. Whereas in Crisis Core, he fights a shitload of dudes and he dies of his wounds. Now, I can see if he's still weak, that he collapses and gives the Buster Sword to Cloud, and Cloud moves on, and then they find Zack and they execute him. But them when they leave it up hanging like that, Zack's death is one of the more iconic things. Like, Zack's last stand is probably one of the more iconic moments in any fucking Final Fantasy. And for him to survive that and start moving towards Midgar with Cloud, I want to believe that he's alive, but I don't know how they can move on with the story if he's alive. There's no indication that Cloud even remembers Zack. And Cloud has, in the original at least, he has a breakdown when Zack dies, and that what blocks Zack from his mind, and he takes the Buster Sword, and he thinks he lived fucking Zack's life. So I have no fucking idea what they're gonna do if he's alive.
Yeah. There's really no telling. I mean, the implications of Zack being alive, I think, are just too great to really even consider without more information. I think that is such a huge part of Cloud, that him remaining alive. I don't even know what effects that could have.
I mean, Zack's death is literally the catalyst for the first game, for the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah, if it never happened, we would have never had that game.
Yeah, and it's that pivotal moment. Like, I don't know what can they do with that?
Yeah. Well, we haven't heard. We've heard mine and Tom's, Sully, but I don't think you've said any to the extent what you think the ending is, or what the implications.
He's just on board with everything we said.
I'm so confused now. I don't know what to believe.
What?
Well, what did you think before?
Honestly, I don't know. There was like something deep down inside me that thought that maybe Aerith had something to do, like she had a cosmic reset button, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like Holy is stronger than what it was. Well, I mean, it saved the world.
Isn't and Holy in 7 at least is more like, we know for sure that, like, is it Meteor or Comet? It's Meteor, right? The one that is always. Yeah. Okay, so like Meteor is always just defined as like a force of major destruction. Like, that's the only thing that Meteor is consistently done, is that it is big bad news. But I feel like in 7, Holy is more ambiguous on what it could be. Like, they don't know what it is, and all they, like, in other games it's just straight damage, but in this it stops Meteor.
Aerith had absolutely no idea. Like, it was completely useless to her until she died. You know,
so who knows?
We genuinely don't know what it does. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that could totally be right. I do think that her ancient blood is part of what is giving her the insight into that other feeling, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you said it, Joe, that she might not. she might like be aware of what's gonna happen, but that she might not know like specifically that she's gonna die or whatever.
Yeah.
And like her death in the original is one. I mean, fuck, it's one of the most iconic gaming moments of all fucking gaming forever. So even with the North, like she's not gonna die. I don't fucking know. Like I have no idea if she's going to die or not. I feel like if they don't kill her, I mean, I don't want to say, but I'll be fucking mad.
I think she's already dead.
I think if Sephiroth doesn't kill her, she'll kill herself. I think that her death is so important to the storyline of that game to unless it just, and again, we don't know. I mean, it could go completely after this. It may not even be Sephiroth's plan to use Meteor. He may have a whole other plan. You know, that's the repeated visions we keep seeing is Meteor, but that's, you know, that was the old timeline. That's what was supposed to happen before we beat Fate, and that could be what she was seeing. So we don't know, but I think if things keep going in the direction that they were, and that is his end goal, is to meteor the planet still, I think if she isn't killed, she'll end up sacrificing herself. And if this Sephiroth really is either from the future or part of a loop, I think he could definitely decide not to kill her for that purpose.
Yeah, the implications of her not dying, I think, are just too great.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think if she's not killed, she'll sacrifice herself because she knows that she'll end up knowing that that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
And Sephiroth is aware that if that does happen, then he loses. So I could see her death being delayed till much later in the game, or in the overall story. I guess not the game, since it'll be 3 or 4 games, but in the overall story, I could see it being delayed quite a bit further.
Yeah, that's definitely logical.
Yeah, like be it if Sephiroth is on a loop, or if he's from the future, or if he just knows the future, like whatever. I think that he, like you said, like killing Barrett, I jumped on that theory in my head immediately when you explained it. I think he tries everything in his power to alter the course of the timeline. Even if he understands that him stabbing Barrett achieves almost nothing. But he clearly understands the Arbiters of Fate in some way. I mean, he literally baits Cloud into killing Faith. Like, Cloud and company are eating out of his hand. Because you can argue that if they would just follow destiny, then they would win. I mean, taking into account Advent Children, Sephiroth gets resurrected, but at the end of Advent Children, it's not really clear if he dies or whatever. But ultimately, the good guys win at the end of Advent Children, which is I think the furthest where the canon goes. So Sephiroth baiting the characters into killing Faith, he obviously has some form of agenda. He wants to alter the course of history for some reason. Either he knows that he's going to lose, or he's not far enough into the future where he sees himself win. So he alters it somehow to achieve some form of new goal. Is it Meteor or is it something else? I don't know, but clearly he understands what's going on. I mean, he can fucking control the things. He can slice through them, make it portals and shit. Which is not, like, established at all. It just happens. Like, he's like a godly being in that sense.
Yeah. I think we're dealing with a totally different Sephiroth than what we did originally. I think I think this is like a much more calculated Sephiroth.
Yeah, the question is just, does he have the memories from the original seventh Sephiroth, or is he a reincarnation of an old Sephiroth? Is he on a loop? Is this the 500th Sephiroth that retains the memories of all the other ones? How much does he know? How much does he know these characters? Like, he obviously he seems to know Cloud way more than Cloud knows him. the way he talks to Cloud. And he literally wants Cloud to go on. He could kill him anyway. He could kill him at any point, and he chooses not to do that. He even offers Cloud to join him on his quest to do whatever. He still hasn't said what he's gonna do, but Cloud just refuses. And then he says that fucking cryptic line that I firmly fucking believe that the developers don't even know what the fuck it means. When Sephiroth says to Cloud, 7 seconds until the end. And I
have no idea what that meant.
They say 7 seconds because it's Final Fantasy 7. It could be fucking Final Fantasy 4, and he would say 4 seconds till the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Whenever he said that, I even started counting, like in my head. I was thinking, oh, maybe something's gonna happen in 7 seconds, and then he just disappeared, and I was like, oh, I don't know. The 7 seconds, I think, is gonna be the biggest mystery of that game until the next one comes out.
I mean, fuck, I'm ready to accept the fact even now that they're never gonna resolve it. I'm willing to accept a place where the developers just say, oh, it was just a fucking throwaway comment. I don't believe it. I don't believe it means anything. I think they put it in because it sounds cool. Because he continues with something like what will you do with it? Will it be enough time for you, or something like that?
Right. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. And people may be thinking about it all wrong from the get-go. I mean, we know that Sephiroth has, basically limitless power to an extent. But what if it's not even him? What if it's Jenova that's doing this? What if it's his mom that is actually the mastermind behind all of this? Because, I mean, we don't, overall, she's really an enigma. We don't really know to what extent she has control over things. Maybe we're all overthinking it, and she just can see the future in this, and just is feeding Sephiroth this information. I mean, I don't think that's likely, but I think it's probably something people need to consider, is that it may not even be Sephiroth that's the mastermind behind changing fate, because she has just as much to lose as he does.
Yeah, I mean, in the original, you don't see the real Sephiroth until very, very late in the game. All the Sephiroths you see before that is Jenova. So, fuck it. I mean, and literally right now, like, you fight the Jenova in Shinra Tower. It's seconds before you fight Jenova, you are interacting with Sephiroth. And so, and it's not even like the real Sephiroth. The Jenova that you're fighting turns into one of those tattooed guys. But it's Jenova doing it, probably. What if it's Jenova who knows, like you literally said it, Jenova sees the future. Jenova has seen the future of the original game, and Sephiroth fails. So Jenova tries to make it go another way. And it's just Jenova fucking doing everything. And we see Sephiroth probably in game 63 when we finally hit the northern crater, and he's just there chilling in the ice thing.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, the more likely what seems more likely, and this is probably just meta thinking about RPG games in general, because in my mind, whenever you go through an RPG game and you fight the big bad at the end, that character, even taking out like the idea of leveling, I still think that the characters grow enough in strength in the lore to then be powerful enough to kill him. But Sephiroths are already in-game boss level. He's Sephiroth. Sephiroth is Sephiroth. Are characters really, do you think that these characters are really to the point where they can fight a Sephiroth successfully and not be immediately murdered? Because, I mean, we saw that even assuming this is a clone, even this clone was strong enough to put Barrett down with a single stab.
And I mean, he had magic abilities. Like, he could use telekinesis on shit in the fucking whatever place.
Yeah. Maybe something to chew on for a little bit, fellas. Just throw a whole wrench in the thing.
Boom. Sephiroth is actually Jenova. Boom. Nomurad.
I don't know.
I
mean, that's the craziest part about that, is that's just as possible as anything else we've said. it's wild.
Does anybody else think he looked sick?
No.
Like gray? Yeah.
I think he was not smiling. What's the smirking? Is that a word?
No, like every time you see him, he looks like ill.
I mean, he's a white guy. I look ill. I'm a white guy.
He looks like death warmed over, like literally undeath. Because he did have like the blacking on the inside of his lips, and he was absurdly pale. I don't know. I mean, he definitely doesn't look human, but I think that the longer you go for Mako exposure, like they even talk about that with Cloud Summon, that that's why he's so skinny.
Yeah, I mean, he had Sephiroth has cat eyes, literally.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I like, I mean, I don't want to say on a serious note because none of this is fucking serious. I still think Sephiroth is, I mean, the most like easiest solution for the fans is Jenova being able to see the future, because then they can essentially retrail the original game and change very little. But I mean, I'll fucking go with it. I want to see that Sephiroth's from the future. I want that. I want to have them like go really fucking off the rails from the original. I mean, a certain part of my brain wants to just throw the middle finger to all the purists myself, and another part of me is, if I really wanted to play Final Fantasy VII the original, I'll fucking play the original. Like, give me something else. You have the opportunity to do that now, so do it.
Wait, if you think that the Harbingers are the like Kadaj and the other two, we kill them. But if they're trying to ensure that they're born, they would be dead, right?
Well, we kill future.
They want to kill you. But
you kill them in the future, though.
In the future, they sacrifice themselves. Like, okay, so let me explain. When you fight the Harbinger and you fight the Whispers, that is Destiny trying to put you back on the original timeline. So Destiny brings Kadaj, Laz, and Yazoo from the future to the present to stop you, to kill you, or to make you go unconscious or whatever, to put you back on the original timeline, so Destiny can preserve what is supposed to happen. They want to preserve the future that shaped them, the future you are trying to break from.
I was gonna say, but if they do that, then that alters the destiny of the future, because they were born and they did do that in the future.
What?
That fucks everything. Like, if they bring them there and you kill them, then that alters the destiny of the future.
Yeah. But they don't want to die. They failed in their mission to stop you.
Yeah, they were trying to. But I don't think they're like directly them. I think they're like some kind of time essence or something, because Sephiroth is a powerful person, so it makes sense that he could, like, something made from him could put enough energy into the universe to make something like that.
I don't believe it's Sephiroth who even takes them there. I believe it's the Whispers themselves. The Harbinger brings them there, because the Harbinger's one goal is to preserve the timeline, the original timeline. And it does everything in its power to preserve that. So it brings Kadaj, Laz, and Yazoo from the future, the original timeline, to this present where you are trying to break away from it. And they fail at it. You kill them, so they failed at their mission to preserve the original timeline.
So do they know that they're just going to end up sacrificing themselves to bring back Sephiroth?
That's what they probably want.
So why wouldn't they? So that, I mean, that goes to reason then that they want Sephiroth to succeed in that future, right?
Yes.
So why wouldn't they just help Sephiroth succeed in this future?
See, I believe that they don't know about that Sephiroth in the first place.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Do they know that they're being? Oh, they don't know about this Sephiroth?
Yeah, no. Why would they? They have no interaction with each other. It's the
Oh.
Harbinger who brings them there. The Harbinger wanting to preserve the original timeline. Sephiroth being a lone watcher from the sidelines, hoping Cloud kills Destiny. He might not even know that it's Kadaj, Laz, and Yazoo. I mean, ultimately, it's pretty random to take those specific 3 characters from the future to fight you. I mean, the logical thing to say is that you're literally fighting Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa. But I like the Advent Children theory way more. I mean, there's more evidence for it. But they literally fail at it because you, the player, you kill them. And also to support the theory that those 3 are the ones, they literally transform into Bahamut in the game. And Kadaj literally summons Bahamut in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems likely. Seems very likely.
I believe that when you kill the Harbinger, it is the end of the fates in a sense, but I think they will be in some capacity in the future in the games. But on a meta level, I believe that it's literally Nomura telling all the players that you're not going to play Final Fantasy VII how you know it. And I mean, literally the last thing you read in the game before the end credits is the unknown journey continues. And I believe that the word unknown is used very deliberately right there.
It's interesting. There's just a lot of things that can change and affect everything. There's a lot of, you don't realize until you start thinking about how many pivotal moments there really are in Final Fantasy VII. Like how many things that if they had just changed went one other way, it could totally change everything. There's a lot of them.
And I do agree, like, with what Empire is saying, that has anybody considered that part 2 isn't written yet? I believe that they have some form of outline for the entirety of this retelling. But I also strongly believe that after every release, they look at the reception. What did people hate? What did they like? And based on that reception, they're going to pivot to whatever place they're going to go to. The backlash certainly was pretty heavy on the changes. And the most ridiculous thing that I've heard about the remake is a particular streamer. I'm not going to name names because I'm not that low. Said that he really hopes that he gets the subsequent releases for free. And his reasoning for this is he bought the remake. He bought the entirety of the remake. Not part 1, not part 2, not part 3, the remake. And thus he feels that he is entitled to getting the subsequent releases for free.
I think it's fair. I'll jump on that bandwagon if I can get it for free.
I mean, yeah, I won't turn it down.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody would turn it down.
But you played a full game and you paid full price for it, and the next game's going to be a full game and you're going to pay full price for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what your opinion is. That's how it's going to go.
Oh yeah, make no mistake. The next release will be $60 or $70, and the subsequent releases will be the same. There is no question about it.
Yeah.
And the discussion I had with this streamer, it culminated. I didn't even realize that it was such a sore subject, because nowhere was it anywhere written that I'm not allowed to talk about the game. I didn't attack anyone. I didn't attack anyone's opinions. I just discussed my own opinions about the game and how I enjoyed the game. It literally ended with the streamer getting so tilted about my opinion and why I like Final Fantasy VII Remake that he rage quit his own stream.
Whoa.
He literally said, "I'm gonna end stream now. I'm so tilted," and then he just ended. Yeah, I'm
People
apparently
have like so many irrational opinions on the remake and the way they're doing it, and it's, I don't know. Maybe we're the elitists.
I'm such a
We're the
bully.
assholes.
I'm such a bully. Exactly like Chad is saying. I'm such a bully. Like, I did not understand that a video game can be so triggering to someone that they get so irrationally mad that they have to stop their stream because they are so tilted that somebody likes a particular video game. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. I will be more considerate in the future, considering that my opinions are not worth saying to anybody. Please, let's all refrain from telling our opinions. Everyone's a snowflake and everyone needs to be agreed with. At one point, I was literally told by the streamer that I'm trying to insert my own... I'm trying to alter their opinion of the game by talking positively about the game. And because why I mentioned why it was nowhere written that I'm not supposed to talk about the game, at one point the streamer literally said that when I initially said that I liked the game, the streamer said that he wants all the releases for free and that he doesn't like the remake. What I should have responded, according to him, was, "Oh, that sucks," and then move on with everything. He's trying to dictate me what I can and can't say without expressing any like rules of his chat, what I can and can't say. Ultimately, I unfollowed his channel because fuck that guy.
Fair enough. The most logical like explanation for not liking the game that I've heard so far is from like gamers that are like my age, a little bit older, and they didn't like the fact that the combat wasn't genuinely like truly a not turn based but like active time battle like original games were, and it's too fast paced for them. And I get that. That's completely understandable if you don't like, I mean, you can still enjoy the story if you don't like the combat, but that was the reason that they didn't enjoy the game.
That's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
ultimately there are easier modes on there though. I think there's one where it's just super easy, just so you can experience the story. So
Yeah.
thankfully they do have an option for that.
The game has an easy mode, people, unlike Sekiro.
Classic.
Classic.
By the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I honestly thought classic mode would be that like old school kind of, you would still be able to move and stuff, but it would be a turn-based combat system, but it's apparently not. I don't know exactly what it does. I think your ATB is like always full. I don't know. I don't remember what they told me. I didn't try it.
ATB always full. That's like fucking bravers all the way.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Or it fills up by time or something. I don't know. But much faster.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the hypothetical criticisms, or the criticism that for a hypothetical that I've seen that I could agree with on, is if someone is just doesn't follow the games industry in any capacity at all, and they walk into a Walmart and they see Final Fantasy Remake and they go, "Shit, this was the game I played 20 years ago. I want to buy this." And then they get disappointed when it's not even the first disc.
Fair enough. You can have that one.
It looks like, just at a quick googling, classic mode controls all of your characters and all of their ATB gauges fill. So they said that apparently it does try to emulate turn-based, in that pretty much the only interaction you have to do is choosing what to use your ATB gauge on. Like even the character you currently are controlling will attack automatically in combat on classic mode.
Oh, okay.
So the only thing, and that seems like a pretty good, I feel like that's a pretty good middle ground where it almost does turn more turn-based like you used to, If you're just sitting there basically waiting for your ATB charge to fill, that's what you did in Final Fantasy VII. You just kind of sat there and waited for your ATB charge to fill up. The only difference is now it's more meaningful because it's not just going to be a regular attack. You're going to put some hurt out there.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good middle ground.
Yeah, I kind of want to try that out now. I'm curious. I'm interested.
And it says it is quite a bit easier, so I guess the enemies also have less health and stuff. So
I just want to finish hard mode because I think it's every side quest, every boss, and a few other things unlock new manuscripts to further upgrade your weapons. And like right now, I think I have like almost seven cores on some of my weapons, which the possibilities of investing into any of those is just like absolutely endless at this point. I still can't max everything out, but like the amount of things that I can unlock is just absurd.
Nice.
Plus, you can get, I think, only the tier 2 limit breaks in hard mode.
No.
No? Or it's the... Or no.
Yeah, you can get.
You have to do a specific thing with like each individual character in the battle or the Coliseum, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They have like a solo Coliseum fight. I need to go back and finish. The only things I haven't done, I did every side mission I could. I need to go back and do the rest of the Coliseum fights. I've cleared all the ones that you have access to in the story, but they open up a lot more apparently post game. And I need to kill Bahamut. After I clear the Coliseum and Bahamut, I'll have done everything in the game on the normal mode. And I was really happy to see afterwards they made it so easy to just go back with the chapter select and stuff. Yeah. I was saving at the end of every stream, I was doing a manual save on a new slot. So because I knew if there was something I was gonna miss, I could just go back to it.
And then at the end, I didn't want to spoil it to you.
Yeah, I know. Whatever, because I thought that same thing. That's the first thing I thought of whenever it said chapter select. I was like, oh yeah, I was just telling Tom the other day that I had one saved just for that.
I was really concerned because the only side quest that I had missed my first playthrough was the very first one.
Damn dog.
I got. Well, it was like the very first set of ones where you have to go find the cats.
Oh yeah.
I did not finish that one and didn't realize I couldn't go back to do it. And I was like, I really have to play this whole game and then come back to this point just to do this one quest. And then thank God, like halfway through the game, I think Tom told me that there is a chapter select at the end. Thank
you.
Yeah, I tried not to like spoil stuff for people, but I mean, with stuff like chapter selects and shit, I think they fall pretty hard on a gray area, and it really depends on the person, like if you want to hear that or not. Like I remember Joe was talking about something, one of the VR fights, I guess, and I think you asked specifically like, can I do this later? And that's when I also struggled, like, do I tell him?
Yeah.
And I think I said something vague that you might find Chadley somewhere in the Shinra Tower.
Yeah, that's what you said. Because I was worried I wouldn't have another chance to fight Bahamut, and you told me that he would be up in the tower.
Yeah, that is like something. I struggle with those sort of things on Twitch because there's channels where I would get insta-banned for saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's one of those things that it's really obvious if you just pay attention to the game. Like, Chadley literally says that he's a Shinra employee. So, in my book, if somebody gets mad that I spoil that, it's like, well, you didn't pay attention to the game, so not my fault.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had definitely completely forgotten he was a Shinra employee.
All right. If nobody has anything else to add, I'll ask that. Does anybody have something to add still?
I don't believe so. Not until we end the stream, and then I'm like, oh shit. But not right now.
If Joe doesn't either, I have one last question.
I'm good.
Predictions. Where will part 2 begin?
I know early on, whenever we talked about this a little bit, and we brushed on it very, very briefly in a podcast or in a regular episode. And I think the Nibelheim thing with knowing like how much is happening now and like where it ended off, I think starting with the Nibelheim flashback isn't too far out.
I believe that also. They're gonna start with the Nibelheim flashback because it also serves as a perfect way to have a tutorial. Cloud's like under leveled and everything. You can have like some small fry, and the game can literally hold your hand and be like, "This is how you attack," because you know they're gonna put that in because they can't fucking just they can't assume that everyone who picks up part 2 played part 1.
Yeah, I think gameplay will start there, but I think it'll definitely open with a cutscene like the party leaving the city officially and then traveling to Calm.
See, let me set the scene. It's raining, and the camera pans back, and it's a car windshield, and the wipes go like this, and then it pans back. It goes to the back of the truck. You see Sephiroth. You see his like sword, and it's oh shit, it's Sephiroth. And then you see like the edge of the Buster sword, and oh fuck, that's Cloud. And then the scene like starts, and they talk to each other. Cloud's like young and eccentric and like full of energy, and then blam, the dragon attacks. Cloud gets obliterated immediately, and Sephiroth's like, oh fuck this shit, and slice that bitch in half, and then
the
boom.
Game ends.
And then it just pans into like boom, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2.
As long as you can't get stuck in a Life 2 cycle like the original. That was...
Yeah, fuck that Life 2 cycle, man.
I've had some pretty bad luck in that fight during runs.
It's incredible, like, and on a casual run, you probably, like, brush through pretty easily and quickly through that, like, because it's on rails. But yeah, if you speed run the game over and over and over again, you're bound to get to that point where you just get Life 2 cycled.
What do you think, Sully, about where it all might start off?
I kind of have like two things in my head, only because we mentioned the Yuffie thing. And if that's the case, I would assume if gameplay starts, it'll have to start obviously in the flashback. But then, yeah, you would have to meet Yuffie in Calm if that does happen. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know. I think it'll be just like a cutscene of them, traveling into Calm. I don't think there will be any gameplay in between. Like, you won't be able to pick up the sticks and do anything until like the flashback actually starts.
Yeah.
I think it'll just be them getting down, going to the, I don't know, maybe some other stuff will happen, going to the inn, Red 13 on the floor, usual stuff.
I want them to start with the flashback, but I fear that they're gonna take the very easy way out and start with a recap.
Yeah.
Like Alan Wake. Did you guys play that game?
Played it on stream.
Yeah, in between each chapter, they had like a recap, like an episode.
Like, bitch, I just played this. Like,
it was cool. I like the way they did it, but not for like an entire game. No.
I mean, it's a cool concept, but it doesn't work in practice because you just played that part, and then you get a recap of that part.
Although, by the time they get out part 2, a recap may not be the worst idea.
Oh yeah, obviously
that's
that's why I said that that's the easy way out. You literally have the recap going like them physically walking from Midgard to Calm, and it like it's an aerial shot or some shit, and it's like narrated by Aerith. And they recap the events of the first game, and the recap ends when they hit Calm, and then they go to the inn and have the flashback and whatever. And then Yuffie steals their shit after the flashback when they're sleeping at night, and then they catch her. And decide.
I honestly, now the more that we talk about it, I need that to happen.
Oh yeah, me too.
I need this to occur because that would totally explain why you would. Because I still believe that you will start the game with nothing, or like bare bones.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. Listen here, Square. We got the ideas. Now pay us royalties.
Or at least writer's credits. Yeah. I demand it.
Put me in there, man. Nomura, call me. Okay.
I know at the end, whenever they're walking out, and it's starting to sprinkle, and Aerith looks up, and she says, I really miss the iron sky. There was something about that line that just hit me right, that I thought that was like one of the best things that she could have said at the end of that game.
I believe Zach says the same quote in Crisis Core.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I'm not sure, but I saw a bunch of people talking about that, and they referenced Zach. Okay, yeah, so it's a reference to Crisis Core, yeah.
There you go.
Zach and Aerith are like, they're like boyfriend and girlfriend, and there's a lot of connections between them. If Zach is alive, I believe that they're gonna reunite in some way, either spiritually or just like physically.
I think if he's alive, she's gonna watch him die, and it's gonna be fucked up.
Damn dog.
I think they'll do that. I feel it deep inside my boner.
What if he is alive, and towards the end of the game, they realize, and I mean the end of the story, they realize that to set everything right, they can't be alive, and Cloud has to kill both of them.
The uproar from the community would be catastrophic to that entire franchise.
He's just like, sorry guys, I gotta do it to you. And then they just both fall over.
Especially if there's absolutely like no dialogue, nothing goes on, you have no idea it's about to happen, and then out of nowhere, like they're just walking around, you're not even in a cutscene, and he just goes up and just like slits their throat.
Yeah. Just one swing, both heads.
Yeah.
He's just like, sorry, I had to do it. And
It's
he just
fucking
picks
dark.
up
Little dialogue box pops up like old school, and it's just like, I'm sorry, from Square.
Yeah.
Fucking dark, dudes. Holy shit. Okay. Should we call it?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty well talked out.
This was
my tummy hurts.
This was an old school episode. 3 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We used to start the podcast with 3-hour episodes.
A lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in this game, and I don't think that's going to slow down. I think after this, there's just going to be more to talk about. I think that after this, it's just going to keep going more and more off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Sully on that the instant I shut the stream off, I have things like, oh shit, I should have mentioned this. Oh shit, I should have mentioned that. I mean, we didn't even talk about Roche, the motorcycle guy.
Yeah, he was cool.
If they don't show more of him, I'll be really disappointed, because since he's there, he needs to have a purpose to me.
Yeah. He was really, really random. I liked him. He was really, really random, though.
I think the Turks as a whole are going to play a bigger role. And they already played a fairly big role in the first one, don't get me wrong. But I think that they're going to be maybe not bigger, but differently implemented in the remake.
Where do you think Remake 2 will end?
Definitely not Temple of the Ancients. We won't make it that far.
Yeah, no, not the temple. That is way fucking far into the game.
Cosmo. They're gonna win Cosmo or Nibel.
Cosmo or Nibelheim, yeah. What happens after Nibelheim?
Rocket Town.
They can't really end at Rocket Town because they can't introduce Sid and just end the game there.
No. Though I would love to fight Palmer, that weird looking bastard.
That weird fucking pervert. Yeah, shit, that's a good point. It'll finish where it begins in Nibelheim. Yeah. You begin with the Nibelheim flashback and you literally stop at Nibelheim. Yeah, that makes sense. Boom. Open and shut case. Nomurad.
If you big dick hit 2 ends with a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fucked. You can't end the game like that. Though what?
Wait, but okay, so
the first disc ended that way, right? First disc. God, it's been so long.
Yeah, fuck, I don't remember, dude. And if I play PC, I don't have any discs. So I mean,
you do have a save option though.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, so if the second ends in Nibelheim, could the third end when Aerith dies? If she dies?
I think it's reasonable because there's a lot of content. Well, there's a lot of running around after that. After you get the tiny Bronco.
Yeah, because you get from Nibelheim you go to Rocket Town, you get the Tiny Bronco, you get to the Temple of the Ancients, and then you. Is that when you go to the Forgotten City?
Holy shit, dude! I can't believe I'm like forgetting timeline right now.
Yeah, we've definitely played Final Fantasy. Oh, thank you, chat. Thank you. See, chat knows way more than I do, or Sully, the so-called expert of Final Fantasy VII.
I never said I was an expert.
Oh well, that's. I mean, I'm putting words into your mouth right now. You just eat them up, bitch. And so yeah, in that sense, I think that they could do that. They could go Rocket Town, Temple, Forgotten City, and end when Aerith dies, if she dies. And then the last.
I hope third installment is only Gold Saucer. That's it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I hope we get a $40 Gold Saucer DLC.
You know how fucking dank that would be. I would play.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean. Also, I want to point out a wild fucking theory that I just want to throw out there from that Maximilian dude said. This is not gonna happen in any stretch of the imagination, but I fucking love this idea. What if we get an entire side game, like a very short side game, $10, $15, where you literally play the bombing mission as Zack because he's alive. And then you just play the bombing mission as Zack with different move sets. How much would that fuck with people? Because I'd do it. I'd play the bombing mission with Zack. Slap like
it would be much different.
I mean, sure, it wouldn't be different, but it would be something weird. If they do it weird.
I don't know enough about Zack to have an opinion on that.
I mean, Zack wields the Buster Sword that he got from Angel, I guess. Angel, I think. Yeah. Some Crisis Core nerd in chat will probably correct me.
Someone's saying that they'll think it'll be a 4 to 5 disc game. Where do you guys think it'll land by the time this is done? How many releases do you think we'll have to retell this story?
I honestly have no estimation, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, given that we ended in Midgar, if they do 3 games, including Midgar, there's a shitload of content you need to put on 2 games if you do 3 after Midgar. Like, I don't think it can be a trilogy anymore.
So, no, I think 3 disc is completely out of the question, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think a 4 disc might be reasonable.
If you break it down by like the portion of the game versus like how much we got, I mean, it's really like Midgar in the original game is like less than 1/10 of the actual playtime. I mean, it's what, like 6 hours, and you can beat Final Fantasy VII in like 45 on a real slow, casual playthrough. 45, 50 hours maybe.
Yeah, but you have to also consider that a lot of that playtime in Final Fantasy VII is getting lost and doing random battles and traversing the world. I'm still a little torn on if they're gonna have an overworld or not. I mean, they've done it in Final Fantasy 15, so they're definitely capable of doing it. And given that the next console generation is coming out and they're gonna have more firepower under the consoles, they could do an open world. But I don't see them doing. I don't see them like you literally running around the open world and then you just see Calm in the distance and you just fucking walk up to the city and without any load times or nothing, you just walk into Calm. I don't see that.
I think it'll be like pseudo linear kind of travel in between.
Yeah, that's something I can agree with.
It's interesting. Interesting to think about what it could be. I mean, because realistically, with all the changes that were made, it could be totally different. It could not follow the old storyline at all, and all this speculation just be for nothing. It would make everybody super pissed, but I think it would be hilarious.
Exactly, and yeah, like if like Nomura has gone to such lengths already to express to all the players that you are literally killing the timeline of the first game, like the original. So he wants to do his own thing. So I believe that he's going to take huge liberties. I want to believe that some higher ups in Square want the overall story be the same, huge like brushes, but just the details be whatever they are. Like not changing things that don't fundamentally change the story. Like you can fight Midgar Zolom. Like in the original, you took a chocobo and ran past him. What if you fight him in the remake part 2? Nothing fundamentally changes. Oh, I mean, okay, Sephiroth kills one or Jenova, but fuck it, it can be another snake, whatever. I mean, there's a bunch of things you can do like that fundamentally don't change anything, but you still can just change a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, plot twist in Nibelheim is kind of like what has to happen. I think like one of the fundamental plot points in the original is when Sephiroth realizes he's a clone. That's why he wants to do all the horrible things.
Or do you mean when you physically visit there? Kind of curious what Diesel meant.
Yeah, actually, now when you mentioned that, I'm not sure if you means the flashback or not. Type quick, Diesel.
We'll fight Sephiroth again in Nibelheim.
Oh, we for sure will fight Sephiroth in some capacity in Nibelheim.
Dude, I just remembered Materia Keeper is after that. And that, I don't want to fight it. Fight's hard, dude.
We're totally gonna fight Materia Keeper.
Fight's hard.
It doesn't need to be super fucking speedrunner hard in the original, the remake. It's not even a hard boss if you just casually play it.
Easy, bro. He kills himself.
Yeah, I mean, I literally, I don't think it. I mean, I don't know. It'll be in there though, definitely. Demon Wall will be one of the more pivotal boss fights. There's a lot of those pivotal boss fights. So Demon Wall is certainly one. Yeah, that's about it. That's the only pivotal boss in Final Fantasy VII.
It's the only one that exists ever.
Yep. Another like thing to consider, like in the original, when you free Sephiroth from his prison, the planet activates the weapons, which is the planet's defensive mechanism. I want to fight those fuckers. I want to fight Ultima Weapon. I want to fight Emerald Weapon. I want to fight Ruby Weapon. I want to fight Diamond Weapon.
I want to fight Sapphire.
Sapphire Weapon.
Sapphire, the water one. Yeah, the one they blew its brains out.
Did you know, Sully, that the weapons are referenced in the remake?
No, I didn't notice that.
I pointed them out to Joe.
But I
didn't even notice one.
They you get these tiaras. And they're called like Diamond Tiara, Ruby Tiara, or whatever.
I remember that.
They're literally the weapons. They look like the weapons. I didn't realize it was
all of them. Oh.
There's at least Diamond, Ruby, and Emerald.
There was just the 3 of them.
Okay, that's the 3. Yeah, they look like the weapons. And I mean, it's a reference or an Easter egg, one or the other, but they are literally the weapons.
Oh, they do look like the weapons. That's neat.
So here's a thought, bringing up the weapons, that might be supporting the Jenova thing. If in the original game, Sephiroth just being physically unleashed is what summoned the weapons, if that's him now, why didn't that summon the weapons? You know, in the remake, if he's already here, physically here, why aren't the weapons doing something?
I believe that if it's like really Sephiroth from the future, I believe that there's a present Sephiroth in the prison in the Northern Crater. And that's why the weapons are not released.
So it's less... So you think that they didn't really sense his presence, they just knew he was released?
Yeah.
Because I was under the impression that they just like sensed his power, basically, knew that he was free and out there in the world, and that's why they activated. So I don't know if they're able to sense like him now, or if just opening that prison is actually what activates them.
I always thought that it's just an activation mechanism, because when you free Sephiroth, that's literally when the weapons, all of them, activate.
Yeah. Or the planet sense the black materia. That could be it. That they sense the black materia.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because Cloud gives the black materia to Sephiroth, which resurrects him, or at least unleashes the prison, and that activates the weapons. I do want to fight them all, though. I want to fight all of them, even Sapphire, who gets just fucking cock blocked by the game itself in the original.
I'm curious if they'll put more in.
Oh no, 5 weapons is a lot already.
Yeah, but I know there were like more weapons in, like maybe Crisis Core. I know definitely Dirge of Cerberus. Yeah, there were definitely more weapons. I'm just curious if they'll do anything else with them.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they could put more weapons. Why not? But I mean, it's kind of odd, because like even the stuff that happens in the Northern Crater are super far in the game. So I mean, even if we probably don't see them in part 2 or anything like that. Shit, like, I mean, and who knows how long this series will go. I feel like it's kind of douchey if they make this like a 5-part thing. I mean, we'll be 50 when the last game comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
I'll be dead. No.
Yeah.
Nomura might.
Nomura might.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing to consider, right? Like, I think Square is they probably have motivation to keep as much of the original team on the project, to have it being cohesive. And Nomura has proven that he's willing to do this shit, even though he fucking... A lot of people don't like him because of the things he does, but, I mean... I don't know, he'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But okay. Now is the moment we're gonna stop. Right, guys?
This one's real.
Yeah. I said like 20 minutes ago that we're gonna stop. Oh well. We're gonna probably have this same type of discussion in 5 years when the next game comes out. If we do the Pantsless Podcast by that time, I don't know. I might be dead.
Who knows?
Please follow the channel, this channel, the Pantsless Podcast. We are live every 2nd and 4th Wednesday. Today is not Wednesday because this was an extra episode. Every 2nd and 4th Wednesday, 7 p.m. EST, is when Gradiggy, Northern Savant, Trevor the Miracle, and me, the usual suspects, go live and we talk about the games industry. If anybody is watching this on YouTube, thanks for sticking this fucking long. Please do follow the Twitch channel so you can watch us live. And yeah,
Thanks for
watching everyone. I think it's time to smile and wave, boys.